Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler present the Big 12 Conference Game of the Week. Today from a sold-out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, the Nebraska Cornhuskers take on the Colorado State Rams. Hello again, everybody. Along with my broadcast partner, Dave Lapham, I'm Ron Thulin. Dave, for the last 5 years, Nebraska has led the country in rushing, averaging almost 400 yards last year. This year, however, total offensive-wise, for the first time since '75, they have not registered 300 yards total in back-to-back games.
Yeah, it's really surprising. They're struggling offensively, and the numbers will show that. They're not throwing the football real well. That's not a total surprise. But not running the ball consistently well, that is a surprise. The offensive line has to start playing better. The remedy is smash-mouth football. Let them come off the line of scrimmage, knock some people backwards, and that'll start to take care of itself. The guy that's taking the brunt of the blame for this is Scott Frost, the quarterback. And as you can see, his passing numbers aren't scintillating, to say the least. What you have to do to get your quarterback and offense's confidence back, simplify things, run a few things well, then build from there, and the offense will start to take care of itself.
Well, the good news is Colorado State's defense is next to last in the NCAA. The bad news is their offense is good, averaging almost 40 points a game.
And the leader of the pack, Moses Moreno, and this quarterback is confident. Look at these numbers. 9 touchdown passes on the season to 6 different receivers. Distributed the ball all over the field. Only 3 interceptions. That 3-to-1 ratio is outstanding. The key is, though, they have to run the football. They've averaged 230 yards a game coming in. They have to run the ball against Nebraska for 100 yards in this afternoon's game to complement his efforts to stay in it, Ron.
Well, Dave, back-to-back losses don't happen too often here in Lincoln. In fact, the last time was 1990. But during the regular season, in the Tom Osborne era, it has happened only once. That was back in 1976. We'll step aside, and Dave will tell us what both teams have to do to win. Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska is the 3rd largest city in Nebraska today. Now let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines team must. Southwest Airlines, low fares on every flight, every seat, every day. Dave?
Well, Colorado State, they have to be physical in every phase, Ron, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And they have to put the ball in the end zone. 7 points, don't settle for field goals, and no silly mistakes, no turnovers, no missed assignments. They have a small or no margin for error. And then on the Nebraska side of things, they want to erase any doubt that was established last week against Arizona State. Come out early and dominate. No turnovers. They gave it away a bunch of times against Arizona State. That was a problem. Last year, they had 7 one-play drives. They got to get some big plays today.
And those are the Southwest Airlines musts. When we come back, we'll have the opening kickoff, Colorado State and Nebraska. Matt McDougall set to kick it off for Colorado State. They won the toss, but they have deferred to the second half. And back to receive the kickoff, D'Angelo Evans on the far side and Damon Benning on the near side. And it is going to be Evans on the 4. Straight up the middle, has some running room. Look out. Brought down on the play by Eason Ramson as he takes it all the way up to the 38-yard line. A return of 37 yards as we look at quarterback Scott Frost. And Dave, he has been under such controversy this week. It's been unbelievable. People forget this is only his 3rd game as quarterback for Nebraska.
Well, quarterbacks get too much credit when things go well and too much blame when things go poorly. That's the bottom line, and he's experiencing that right now. He's the lightning rod.
Now, both coaches talking about how important the first 5 minutes of this game will be. Nebraska showing just brute strength on the ground. Amon Green picking up almost 10 yards, and I think that's what they're going to give him.
They're just going to play a little smash-mouth football, and Amon Green is going to be the beneficiary of that. They're going to run between the tackles behind that offensive line, and Green last year averaged 7.7 a rush. This year, 4.5. Aaron Taylor will play guard as well as center this afternoon. Still trying to find the right combination, the right mix up front with that talented offensive line.
We'll look at the Colorado's defense in a moment. Second down, just about a foot to go. Green looking for the rooms, got the first down, and 6 to spare. Let's take a look at that Colorado State defense. Adrian Ross, the right end, is the man to keep the eye on.
Yeah, really. He's got 2.5 sacks. He's got 3 tackles for losses. He's been a disruptor so far early in this football season. Kwame at the linebacker spot, he's the leading tackler, but he's got a dislocated shoulder. He's wearing a harness this afternoon. Could impair his tackling, obviously. McDougall, he took a ride in that first snap against Green. He's going to play maybe a little offense in an emergency this afternoon, too.
This time the Colorado defense swarming. They had him, and now they lost him, and they got him again. What a big hit at the end. Damon Benning was the carrier. We saw Ross, number 44, come up and put the finishing touches on that little bad boy.
You know, what Colorado State's doing here, they're not really loading up the box on alignment. They've got 7 people in the box, but their safeties are like extra linebackers. The outside linebackers are blowing up the field in a blitz, and the safeties are reading run. They're run support right away. The key for Colorado State is to tackle. Look how many missed tackles there before he was finally wrapped up and brought to the turf, even though it was thrown for a loss.
Ross going to put it up for the first time, and it is complete and is good for a first down and then some. Brendan Holbein all the way down to the 18-yard line. Crossed an unusual motion throwing the football, but he got the results.
Well, there was a missed tackle on the play that was critical. Corner missed the tackle. Holbein, this is what we're talking about simplified, build the confidence, a little roll, short pass, completable football, and watch the missed tackle right there. Took a terrible angle, didn't make a play on the football, is Tyrus Nunn. He didn't get it done at all, and that caused the compounded the problem.
Benning tries the left side, and this time the Colorado State defense stands tall. Sonny Lubick, the head coach of Colorado State, he has done what no other Colorado State coach has been able to do in the past history of their team. In 3 years, he's taken the program to their first ever WAC title back in '94, cracked the top 10 in that year, finished 14th in the nation. But this year, he's got almost a complete redo on his defense. Crossed on the option, a pretty good pitch. They have some running room again. Down to the 10-yard line, and is Benning. Interesting, though, we talk about Amon Green. Benning, though, seems to be getting a lot of playing time here in the first quarter, and that is something that we expected, Dave.
Well, down the football field, a big key in this football game is blocking down the field. And watch Holbein, number 5 in the red jersey, with the crackback block. He'll bring it inside, freeze it. That's the shot right there. Holbein throws the block on the crack, allows his man to get to the perimeter. Benning takes advantage of that block. That's the key to Nebraska, downfield block.
Here's Green trying the left side, inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line. Willie Taylor and Nate Kwame, the linebackers, come up to make the stop. You talked about Holbein making that block. The coaches say he is one of the most tenacious blockers they have ever seen.
Well, Ron, one thing that they do, pancake blocks in the offensive line. They keep track of those all season long, but they also like to keep track of the downfield blocks thrown by the wide receivers and the running backs blocking for each other. And they'll have as many as 100 people on the ground in an 85-play game.
First and goal. Green is going to be stacked up at about the 8-yard line. Steve Trammell was the first one to make the hit. And McDougal came up to clean it up.
Well, listen, that's McDougal. That's the call you make. What position does he play? Free safety. Where is he making the tackle? 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's what Colorado State's going to do. The free safety and strong safety, for all practical purposes, are extra linebackers in this football game, and they're going to fly up and run support like crazy.
Second and goal. High formation again for Nebraska. A couple of tight ends. Cross is going to keep it. Has running room to the 5. Stacked up and going to be brought down. Kevin McDougal, a redshirt freshman out of Arvada, Colorado, comes up to make the hit.
Oh, McDougal's been very nosy in the running game. I'll tell you, this kid is very instinctive. He was a great running back in high school. They've moved him to the safety position, and all he does is make plays. He's like a lot of great football players. He can't tell you why he does some things he does. It's just instincts, and he's got it.
Nebraska only 25% on third downs this year. They've got a third and goal, ball sitting on the 4. Ross has a man wide open, touchdown Cornhuskers. For Sean Jackson, the tight end.
And we were talking about the no margin for error for Colorado State. Well, there was a serious error right there in coverage. There was a brain cramp. Either a linebacker or a safety did not make the adjustment in the formation to cover the tight end. He was 10 yards open.
I'd say he was open.
Yeah.
Chris Brown to complete the 7-pointer, and he does just that. Nebraska very impressive on their first drive. It takes them less than 4 minutes. They lead at 7-0, and Big 12 football will continue after these local messages. Over 75,000 like the fact that Nebraska was impressive on their opening drive. They lead at 7-0 along with Dave Lapham. Brian Nooner is on the sidelines. We'll be checking in with him momentarily. I'm Ron Thulin. Chris Brown, the sophomore from South Lake, Texas, the first freshman last year, field goal kicker and kicker in Nebraska history to start. Short kick. It is going to be Damon Washington from the 10. No place to go as he makes his way up to about the 24-yard line. Ted Ratzliff on the tackle. Let's take a look at that touchdown again, Dave.
Well, here's Jackson. He's the receiver that's open. Watch what the motion does to this defense. Watch everybody get sucked up inside, and there's nobody at the linebacker or safety level to cover in the back of the end zone. Jackson releases clean. Look, everybody's bunched up inside. One grenade gets them all. He had 3 guys he could have thrown the football to. He decided to throw to Jackson. That's a big play by Nebraska and a mental error defensively by Colorado State.
Moses Moreno at the helm. Calvin Branch, the lone setback. This is a high-powered offense. Eli Workman in motion. Moreno has the time. Pass is complete. Up to the 46-yard line. Jeremy Calhoun, the 6-foot senior from Long Beach, California. Boy, Moreno had a little zip on that ball.
Oh, he can throw the howitzer. I'll tell you, he's got a tight spiral on that football. He's got a quick release, and he's got confidence in Calhoun because Calhoun was covered pretty well. And he threw the football in, and he said, Calhoun, fight for it. Battle for the football. It's yours when it's in the air. Calhoun did exactly that. He won the tug of war.
Pickup of 23 on the play. 2 tight ends in the lineup now for Colorado State. Moreno goes upstairs again. And again it is complete to Jeff Turner, the Iowa State transfer. He's up to the 45-yard line, and he's in Nebraska territory. Pickup of almost 10 on the play. Let's take a look at the offense for Colorado State. Damon Washington, the fullback, number 20. He can run. He can run. And Calvin Branch, the other fullback, they messenger plays in. They're averaging 8 yards per rush between the two of them. Up front, Rogowski. He's the only senior. Very efficient, effective left tackle, leader of the pack up front. Now they're going to measure, make sure it was a first down. It is awfully close. You know, Ron, the one thing Moreno was doing on this first drive, 3-step drop, ball's gone. It's going to be a 5-step, quick 5-step drop, ball's gone. Everything in a timing pattern. They've run 2 plays. They've thrown the football twice. It's going to be fire and fall back. It's going to be a different approach. Nebraska's going to approach this football game on the ground, and then Colorado State in the air. And the key is, will Wistrom be able to pressure Moreno, pressure the quarterback? He's got 3 sacks this year. He had 4 all of last year. Jamel Williams, I tell you, he has been big time. He's a playmaker at the middle linebacker position for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Minter's got 3 interceptions in 2 games. That leads the country. 7 starters return to this offensive lineup for Colorado State. Last year they averaged 29 points a game. This year almost 40. They keep it on the ground, and they're able to pick up almost 8 on the play. It is Calvin Branch. Last night, Dave Lay, the offensive coordinator for Colorado State, telling us, yes, we're going to throw the football, but we will not be successful unless we run the football. That's right. And I do think they have to rush the ball for at least 100 yards in this football game. And Dave Lay is going to try to keep him off balance a little bit. And he's got 2 different style of running backs. Branch, as we just saw, is a slasher. Smoked the whole runner. Washington, more of a cutback guy. 2nd and 2. 2 tight ends again. Moreno, 3-step drop. Pass is complete. Good for the first down. Again going to his tight end, Eli Workman. You got a flag on the play. There may be a roughing the quarterback. Let's take a look. That's what we got. Late hit on the quarterback. That's exactly what it's going to be against Nebraska. This offense, though, cannot afford to self-destruct, Dave. This is a great drive so far for Colorado State, but they have fumbled 8 times this year. They've been penalized 31 for 282 yards, most of those coming on the offense. They can't afford any type of mistakes. Small margin of error for their offense. Right on, Ron. And the defense had a big error on the touchdown pass, an assignment mistake there.
Roughing the passer against the defense. Automatic first down.
But like you say, Colorado State is responding to Nebraska pounding the football down their throat on the first drive. Just take a look at the hit. I think it might be Wistrom that gets the late hit. No, it's the cornerback on the blitz. The outside, Jamel Williams at the linebacker level, I should say, gets the late hit. He took 2 steps and piled into Moreno after the ball was gone. 1st and 10, ball on the 14 for Colorado State. Lone setback.
Gets the pass off, or play off, flag on the play. A lot of people moving on the line of scrimmage.
I think you had the right tackle, Bailey, move early for Colorado State. Tomic got up and pointed and said, you know, hey, look, he's moving. He broke out of his three-point stance. I think this may cost him 5 yards.
Dead ball. Ball start on the offense. Still second down.
Let's take a look at who I'm talking about here. Now, once you get in a three-point stance, you can't move a muscle. This is him right here. Let's see what he does at the top of the screen if he flinches a little bit. Yeah, he does. He resets himself, but that's too big of a flinch.
Turner late to check into the lineup for Colorado State. Ronald Antoine comes out. Two tight ends again with Scholl and Workman. First and 15, ball on the 19-yard line. Washington tries the right side, cuts back inside the 15, down to about the 10. Pickup of 9 on the play. Wistrom on the tackle.
Well, one thing that Colorado State's going to do is they're going to try to run the football, just a little zone blocking inside. That time they ran what they call the counter gap. Watch the backside guard pull and kick out, the backside tackle take it up inside. The guard pulls, gets his trap, tackle takes it up inside. That's blocked very well, and they pick up significant yardage.
2nd and 8 for Moses Moreno, the junior quarterback from Chula Vista, California. Great protection. Lost it into the end zone. Nobody's there except the cheerleaders.
Well, Tomic doesn't get a quarterback sack, but he gets the hurry. And he's the one that made Moreno throw the football soon. I thought he might have gotten clipped, but it was outside the pocket. Tomic defeats his man up front at the line of scrimmage, then he just hustles. This kid's motor goes 100 miles an hour every single play. And boy, is he one of Charlie McBride's favorites, Ron.
Boy, he does. He said he just gives 100% every down, even in practice.
He said it's a thank you for giving him a chance to come play at Nebraska. Every snap, it's thank you for giving me my opportunity.
3rd down and 8, 7th play of the drive for Colorado State. Moreno has had success throwing a football, this time a little bit too much on it. Intended for Turner, the junior wide receiver from Urbandale, Iowa.
Yeah, that one sailed on him a little bit. His release point was a little bit high, and the ball stayed high. And this is what we were talking about as one of the musts for Colorado State. You can't settle for field goals. You have to pump it in the end zone, because Nebraska already has. But Moreno, as he takes his 5-step drop, Tomic once again trying to pressure him from the outside. The release point's high. No chance. Well over the head of Turner. No opportunity for a play there.
Matt McDougal for the field goal. And it is blocked. Grant Wistrom, I believe, may have gotten his hand on the football. But, Dave, we talked about that they have a small margin of error. That was a big one. You drive all that way, and you got a goose egg on the scoreboard.
That's right. You settle for a field goal opportunity. Your offense doesn't finish it off, and then your kicking game lets you down.
7-0 is our score. Nebraska blocks the field goal. We'll be back right after this word from Dr. Pepper, proud sponsor of the Big 12 championship game. He was 3rd-team All-American last year, wasn't he, AP? 7-0 is our score. Wistrom, 3rd-team All-American last year, according to AP. He comes up with a big block.
Yeah, he really did. And, you know, there are 3 components to a field goal. Snap good, hold good, low kick, though. Kicker knew it right away. And let's take a look at Hess and Wistrom. They both leap to block it up the middle. Due to the low kick, Hess and Wistrom, not great penetration. They just got airborne. He didn't get enough loft. It didn't come off his foot like a wedge. It came off his foot like a 3-iron, and Wistrom batted it to the ball like to the ground like a volleyball player.
Now Nebraska takes over. 1st and 10 on their own 14-yard line. They had an impressive drive the first time they had the football. That probably took a lot of pressure off young Scott Frost. They're going to keep it on the ground again. He's got a convoy in front of him. Up to the 25-yard line for Nebraska. I'm on green again. Brian Nooner is roaming the sidelines here at Memorial Stadium. Let's check in with him right now. Brian?
I have to tell you that the crowd noise played a big part in that last defensive stance of the defense itself. Last week against Arizona State, Nebraska had fits with the crowd noise at Sun Devil Stadium. They couldn't get the checks to the line. That penalty for Colorado State directly attributed to the fact that Moreno could not hear the call.
That's a good point, Brian. Now they face the hostile environment.
Again, it is green. Thursday's practice day when we were here watching, they did pipe crowd sound into Memorial Stadium. They said they do it a lot. But even the coaches admitted, we got a little bit higher on Thursday.
Yeah, and what happens, Ron, if you're an offensive lineman and your only advantage is taken away, your only advantage against a better athlete across from you in the defensive line is the snap count. When you can't hear the snap count, you have to look at the football and move when it moves like the defensive lineman. You are in trouble, and that's what happened in Nebraska out in Arizona State.
And their linemen, I think all the coaches agreed, they were back on their heels so much in that game. Frost on the option, has the first down or close to it. He had some indecision against Arizona State. Some pitches were bad, which he admitted, but today he's run the option very well.
Let's take a look at Dishman, the big left guard here, Ron. Here he is right here. Watch the big fella pull, and watch what he does when he gets down the football field. Now, this is 300 pounds plus. Look at him redirecting himself in traffic. Now he's trying to run down the little guys. Squash. There he goes. It's just push him right to the turf, and you're digging turf out of your fingernails. That's a big guy redirecting himself well in space.
Try to get the first down. Well, Nebraska definitely recruits skilled people, but I think it would be safe to say they build offensive linemen. They've got guys they saw playing basketball, thought they had agility, they had some size, said, you can play offensive line for Nebraska.
I'll tell you what, these guys are 300-pound people that aren't real tall. I mean, a lot of them 6'2", 6'1". They're movable refrigerators, and when you have a refrigerator that can redirect itself out in the open field, if you're a cornerback that isn't even a mini refrigerator, you're in trouble.
They got the first down, 1st and 10, ball on the 36-yard line. Frost changing the play at the line of scrimmage. But they'll keep it on the ground, and Colorado State is there to meet them after a pickup of about 2 on the play. Green now getting the workhorse job. Let's take a look at the Dr. Pepper Roundup. A couple of scores to pass on to you. Miami, Sonny Lubick was the defensive coordinator there a couple of years ago. They lead. Clemson on top of Wake Forest, 7-0. That is in the second. And Navy by 5 over Boston College. We'll keep you posted on scores throughout today.
Boy, BC is a Jekyll and Hyde team. They get smoked by Virginia Tech. They play well against Michigan, and now Navy's up on them this week. Boy, they're up and down. Aren't they like a yo-yo?
Big time. 2nd and 8 for Nebraska. Frost looking to throw it. Across the middle, pass is almost picked off. Intended for Sheldon Jackson, the tight end.
If you run the football as well as Nebraska does, you can throw the football off of play action a little bit. We showed you Dishman pulling out in front of the running play. Let's take a look at him right here as he pulls out in this little play action pass. It's a little trap action up front. He traps the defensive end, just keeps him away from Scott Frost long enough to deliver the football down the middle of the field. I think that's his first incompletion, isn't it?
It is. 3rd down and 8. 5:34 left in the first. Nebraska leading 7-0. Frost again. Oh, pass is knocked down. Frost completes it to himself. Not much running room, and he's going to be brought down at the 25-yard line. Adrian Ross came up with the deflection of the pass, the 6'3" junior from Elk Grove, California.
Well, hindsight's always 20/20, but what you do if you're Frost is just spike it to the ground. Don't catch it. Spike the thing, knock the thing down to the ground. Once Ross knocks it up in the air, it's a free ball. And he knocks it up in the air. His teammate doesn't realize where the ball is. Frost should have just knocked it right to the turf right there and cut his losses, because you lose yardage here. If he knocks it to the ground, it comes back to the line of scrimmage instead of taking the loss.
Well, the screen pass didn't get enough arc on it. If you look at Jesse Cush, the 6-foot junior from Columbus, Nebraska, averaging just about 45 yards a kick. Ooh. Jeff Turner's backed up all the way to the 14. He heads to his left. He is knocked down at about the 34-yard line. Pickup of 20 on the play, and that is where Colorado State will take over. 1st and 10. 5:10 left in the first. Huskers lead it by a touchdown. You are looking at Terrell Farley, the senior from Columbus, Georgia. He is back in Nebraska's lineup. Did not play the first couple of games. He is a welcome addition. Let's send it down to Brian Nooner. Brian?
That's right. Terrell was cleared to play after a 2-game suspension. He violated team policy when he was arrested for driving under the influence. And as you mentioned, Tom Osborne sat him down for the first 2 tilts. He did not play. He did not play in that first defensive series, but he is in there now. And this is a big boost to Nebraska's defense because he's a Butkus Award candidate and an All-American.
And And Brian, I'll tell you, our offensive coordinator Dave Lay mentioned to us last night that he fears Farley more than any other defensive player on the football field for Nebraska because he's a linebacker that runs 500 meters. I mean, they can all fly.
He returned 2 of 3 interceptions for touchdowns last year. Was the Big 8 Defensive Newcomer of the Year. Play action pass. Moreno going for it all and has it knocked down incomplete. Jeremy Calhoun, the intended receiver, the true freshman, Ralph Brown out of Hacienda Heights, California, on the coverage. Coaches felt that Brown was going to be picked on.
They're going to test Brown a little bit. You have a true freshman back there, but he makes a nice recovery on the football. And this ball hung up a little bit too much air under it. If Moreno could have led his receiver just slightly, Tomic gets a little bit of a hit as he releases the football. If he just could lead Calhoun just a little bit more, but Brown makes a nice recovery and breaks the pass up, gets his head turned to make a play on the ball. Nice effort.
Damon Washington, the lone setback once again. A couple of tight ends for Colorado State on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10. Washington crossing the 35 up to about the 36. Charlie McBride is the defensive coordinator for Nebraska. He has been there a long time. He is a good one. He wanted to make Colorado State a one-dimensional team.
Yeah, and he's done that the first couple of weeks. His defensive unit has run. I mean, Michigan State, they didn't rush the ball all that well. I mean, they had 2.7 per rush, or Michigan State had 1.7 per rush. Arizona State 2.7. So Charlie McBride, his defensive unit has played the run very, very well. They've had a few problems here and there in the passing game, a couple of assignment mistakes, but they will shut you down running the ball.
Charlie McBride, one of the great ones. Moreno set to throw, and he is going to be dropped. The 12th sack given up by Colorado State's offense, the 14th sack by Nebraska's defense. Wistrom with his 4th of the year, 1st of the game.
I'll tell you what, the reason that Colorado State's going with 2 tight ends quite a bit, as you've called during the course of the game run, is to try to pass protect against Wistrom and Tomic. The reason they were able to get to the quarterback, look at the coverage down the football field. You got a man underneath with a safety over the top, nowhere to go with the ball. Then watch Wistrom, gets the outside edge, sack. Tomic and Wistrom meet at the quarterback, both beat their respective tackles. You're going to have to keep a tight end in there or a running back to help protect.
McDougal set to kick it away. It'll be a short kick. Nebraska's going to let it bounce. Colorado State will down it. They'll mark it at about the 29-yard line. That's where they will begin. 1st and 10. Still in the first quarter. 3:28. We were talking to the coaches, Dave, about Scott Frost and the criticism he took, and a lot of the linemen stood up for him. They said this was a team loss last week to Arizona State. Yes, Scott maybe not have played that well, but they really wanted him to come out this first quarter and do something to take these 75,000 eyes off him, or 150,000 eyes, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Ron, taking them on a sustained drive and throwing a touchdown pass on their first possession is just what the doctor ordered. That's a nice tonic.
Keep it on the ground with Green, up over the 30, down to the 31-yard line. Well, Tom Osborne admits that Scott Frost is the best they have at quarterback, so you might as well get used to him and like him.
Well, if you look at professional football, and of course that's not the greatest standard, but most professional teams figure it takes 3-4 years to get a guy to where he knows the system well enough to play. And around here, you don't have that much time because, you know, they're gone in 3 or 4 years. But I think it certainly does make a difference. If you've started for a year and you've played 10, 11 games, you're obviously a lot more aware of a lot of things. And so at this stage, I think Scott's doing well. And the problem was it was a tough environment against a very good football team. And we also had just enough breakdowns around Scott that some of which he had nothing to do with, that it caused the offense not to move very well. So anyway, you know, quarterback is kind of a lightning rod position because that guy handles the ball every play. People assume that if you score a lot of points, it was the quarterback that did it, which isn't necessarily true. And if things don't work out well, then it's the quarterback that didn't do it. So it's just a difficult position to play.
Well, even Scott Frost admitted that he wanted to be able to practice at a higher level this week, and I think he did, but more importantly, I think he's showing a lot more confidence, especially on the option today.
Well, he is, and he just ran a nice little option right there, made a good decision. That's the key in this Nebraska offense. They have to make decisions in the option, snap-second decisions. They have to get them out of bad plays into good ones because their running game is so sophisticated. It's a mental challenge to play quarterback as well as physical challenge here at Nebraska. And the other problem that Scott Frost is dealing with, replacing a living legend. Tommy Frazier may have been the best college football quarterback running the option ever, and it's like trying to replace Johnny Unitas, the next quarterback after Johnny Unitas with the Colts. He can't live up to that high standard. It's very tough.
On 3rd and short, Frost keeps it, gets the first down, and Nebraska moves up to the 42-yard line. They will have 1st and 10.
Well, this is what we're talking about with an offensive line, though. This is what you lick your chops for. Let's take a look at Aaron Taylor at the center position. Snap the football, come off the line of scrimmage, get under the pads, lift, and then move some people off the line of scrimmage. I'll tell you what, that's the John Deere earth movers up front at their best, just root hogging people out of there.
6'3", 303 pound is the average for that line of Nebraska. Frost looks down the middle, has a receiver wide open, incomplete. Brendan Holbein was there, and Scott put a little bit too much on it.
Yeah, let him just a little too much, and like you say, Ron, maybe not enough air under the ball to allow Holbein to run under it. But boy, it was there, and the reason that it's there, Cheatham trying to make a play on it. The reason that it's there, look at the safeties again. They're within 5-7 yards of the line of scrimmage. Little play action fake to freeze them, and you have a corner that gave up an inside release with no safety help in the middle. And that's when you run the ball effectively. The play action pass can kill you.
That was Kenny Cheatham, the intended receiver. Green around the left side. Stutter steps, stays on his feet, gets the first down, and there he goes. Inside the 30, down to the 29-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you, this guy, he's a tremendously gifted athlete. He was running like he was a tripod right there. I mean, Jones made the play on it. Let's take a look at Green here. He gets the pitch. Watch, Jones misses the tackle originally. Watch Jones come up right here. Green freezes him, then he misses the tackle. Look at him put his right hand down and balance him like a tripod. Hustles down the field. Who makes the play down the football field, though? He doesn't quit. Back comes Jones. That's good hustle, you know.
Pickup of 29. Frost wants to complete this drive. Gets it out of the flat, and it is incomplete.
That's the type of pass they wanted to get Scott Frost, get his confidence back. Little short route to his fullback out of the backfield, have some completion, start to build some numbers, start to generate some confidence, and just didn't throw that ball quite well enough.
Well, one thing the coaches wanted to do this game also is reduce their number of plays, use less audibles. They felt that not that it was confusing, but they just almost wanted to simplify it a little bit for Frost.
Absolutely. Do a few things well and then build on that.
Big hole up the middle. Green stood up, but he drags the defender about 3 yards.
And that was McDougal, I think, that took that ride, or was it? Maybe it was Eric Olson who took that ride on that one. You better give a token up for that ride, because look at the Red Sea part right here. Center and guard just split it. Fullback gets a nice block on the linebacker level. Look at this ride taken right here. Boy, you can't take Green on high like that. I mean, that's like you're at the circus. Boy, Olson's going to get underneath him, wrap his legs up, and take him to the turf. You can't play high like that. He's off the field right now.
3 freshmen in the secondary for Colorado State. The only one with experience really is Eason Ramson at the left cornerback spot. We have an official timeout.
He got an injury over there trying to work it. He worked his way off the field to the Nebraska sideline under his own power, but I think that's the reason they called the timeout, and it's Amon Green that's, I don't know what his problem is, but boy, is he running the football. 71 yards on 11 attempts.
One of 3 players last year as a freshman to go over 1,000 yards rushing the football, and considering last year he started last on the depth chart at that I-back position for Nebraska.
I'll tell you what, the kid averaged 7.7 yards per rush. He ran for 13 touchdowns and caught passes for 3 more. You know, Green must have been on that effort that he hurt himself a little bit.
Frost takes a couple of big licks at the 22-yard line, and on 3rd down and 2, he will be short of the first down. Fans fans want them to go for it. That might not be too bad of a call, though, Dave. You're playing at home.
Yeah, your defense is playing okay, particularly against the run. You know, you're at the 20-yard line. Why not go for it? You make a statement here and dominate early. Erase any doubts you may have in your mind as an offensive unit and make a statement to Colorado State early.
Jeff Lake split wide to the left, I formation. And that's the end of the first quarter. They're not going to be able to get the playoff, so maybe Dr. Tom Osborne just wanted to have a couple more seconds to think about it. Scott Frost has played well. Tom Osborne's Huskers have played well, and they lead 7-0. We'll be back right after this word from Citgo. Look for the sign of quality throughout Big 12 country. Citgo says go. We've played 15 minutes in Lincoln, Nebraska, and the Huskers lead at 7-0. Sonny Lubick, the head coach at Colorado State, was hoping it would be close after the first quarter. He wouldn't mind a 7-0 score.
We've got to go out there, and I was just talking to one of the coaches, told a couple of players we've got to come out of the first quarter in good shape. But, you know, I wouldn't even be concerned if we're down 7-0 at the quarter. But it can't be something like they've got steamrolling, they're running back punts and blocking punts and all those things, because they are so darn well coached and have so much talent on special teams. That's about as big a concern as everything else. Then defensively, can we slow them down? That's going to be a real ingredient. We have to find a way to do that early in the game.
Yes, I agree with Sonny. It's 7-0, but it's not a good 7-0. Nebraska's blocked a Colorado State field goal, and their running backs have rushed for 104 yards in the first quarter.
On 4th and 2, Frost goes over the fully complete, and he had the man wide open. Threw it behind Sheldon Jackson. Boy, I tell you, young Scott Frost would probably want that one back.
Yeah, that's all the quarterback right there. You can't. There's no other blame to be shared on that one. He just absolutely threw the football behind his intended target, Sheldon Jackson, and it's well executed up front. Little play action pass. I don't know if you expected Jackson to settle down right there, but Jackson was just taking it to the corner of the end zone. He was wide open. Then he's been open. His tight end's been open for him all afternoon. Scott Frost isn't in a throwing rhythm yet.
Well, there's a sea of red here at Memorial Stadium. Let's see if this Moses can part the sea of red. They keep it on the ground, crosses the 25 up to the 26-yard line. Damon Washington, the ball carrier, out of San Diego, California. Coaches say he is the best pure back.
Well, this kid's rushed for over 100 yards 3 times already during the course of the season. He's averaging 7.8 yards per rush. Branch is averaging 9 yards. These two fullbacks have combined for over 800 yards already this season and 10 touchdowns rushing.
This is a team that averages 499 yards a game. Once again, 2 tight ends. Nebraska may have jumped off sides and keep it on the ground up to the 31-yard line. It is Calvin Branch, another transfer from Iowa State. More of a slashing type runner, as you were talking about, Dave. A little different style between Washington and Branch.
And that's good. It gives them a little bit of a change up to the defense. They can't get honed in on one style of rush. But Wistrom that time, I think, was one of the guys that jumped in the neutral zone. You can't guess the snap count. You can't listen to the quarterback. You have to move when the football moves, and not until then. Peripherally, you have to look inside. You can't listen to the quarterback, and that's exactly what was taking place there. Too many people listening to the quarterback's cadence, and he'll get you with that voice inflection, that non-rhythmic count.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And Charlie McBride's not going to like that. That's the type of thing that you don't want to have happen. You don't want to have any type of self-destruction defensively at all.
Brings up a 1st and 10, ball on the 32. Let's see if Moreno goes upstairs. The coaches at Nebraska really felt that Colorado State has more speed at wide receiver than Arizona State did. Moreno, straight drop, has a man in the flat. It is incomplete, off his shoulder pad. Jeremy Calhoun, who didn't even play high school football, bumping around on that corner in a big way with Ralph Brown.
Yeah, let's take a look at Brown. Brown makes a play on the football. Now, does he contact the receiver before the arrival of the ball? That may be what Colorado State's talking about a little bit.
Field judge reached for his flag.
Jocelyn going around down there on the field. Brown gives the big cushion. It's at the top of the screen. Brown's off the line of scrimmage. He gives a cushion. Now he plants and breaks on it. He goes through the receiver to make a play on the ball. No flag thrown.
Turner wide to the right. Branch the lone setback. 2nd and 10. dragged down at the 35-yard line. Pickup of about 3 on the play, setting up a 3rd down and 7 situation.
You know, Ron, one play to circle on your play-by-play sheet out there, though, is 4th down. Tom Osborne decides to go for it. He throws the football. Scott Frost has his tight end wide open. Sheldon Jackson's wide open for a touchdown that would have made it 14-0. Throws the ball behind him, and because it's 4th down, turns the football over on downs to Colorado State, and they stay in this football game. That's a huge play right now.
That and the fact that Colorado State had a field goal block after a wonderful opening drive.
Right.
3rd and 7. Moreno being pressured, and he is going to be dropped for the 2nd time this afternoon. Wistrom and Tomic coming in from those end spots could possibly be the best 2 defensive ends in the Big 12 and in college football, for that matter.
I'll tell you, the bookends were bookends right there. They met at the quarterback for the 2nd time. And watch how tight they come off the corner. And he ran a little bit of a stunt. He took it outside to the tight end. The tight end was in the slow block, and Tomic just ran right around him. Actually, 3 guys met at the quarterback. It was a total collapse of the pocket. Saltzman got involved in that quarterback sack also. Boy, it was a big, big tidal wave to the quarterback.
And Mac McDougal, first punt went about 40 yards. He'll try another. Standing at about the 13-yard line. 3 back for Nebraska. A short kick again. It is Fullman, and he is going to be hog-tied and dropped to the canvas at about the 32. Jeff Turner, the wide receiver, makes the stop. 12:16 left in the first half, and Nebraska leads at 7-zip. Nebraska leads 7-0, but some bad news maybe for Colorado State. Their leading receiver, Jeff Turner, the transfer from Iowa State, he was injured on that last play, and we have it perfectly on this replay.
Yeah, he's on the punt team. He's covering punts. Look at him on the ground, number 1. He right there hyperextends his left shoulder, jams his left shoulder into the turf, and that's what they're working on right now. I wonder if it's sublux that might have popped out a little bit. Not a total dislocation, but sublux a little bit.
Well, let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines storyline. Southwest Airlines, low fares, every flight, every seat, every day. Frost with 24 yards rushing, which is good because in the first 2 games combined, he had only 51. Moreno was hot early on, 3 of 7 for 41 yards, but they have cooled off since then as they're trying to establish some type of running game. Nebraska takes over ball on the 34, 1st and 10, 12:16 left in the first half. They keep it on the ground with Damon Benning. Well, Nebraska felt that all the teams they face this year are probably going to put 8 and 9 men in the box, and Colorado State was no different. They wanted to walk the safeties up. Sonny Lubick said, we want to show them a lot of people on the line.
Well, let's take a block. Let's take a look at a block by a fullback Schuster on a linebacker Kwame. Now the offensive line does a good job up front. They get the position. Watch the fullback come in. Boom. Cuts the linebacker right to the turf. That's a knockdown. That's what the offensive coaches from Nebraska was talking about. Receivers and running backs blocking.
2nd down and 1. Willie Taylor comes up with a crushing blow. May not have gotten the first down. In fact, he probably lost about 1.5 feet on the play.
Now look at Taylor's left hand. He's wearing a cast on that hand, but the way he puts the head across the bow here, it doesn't matter. Boom. He wraps that cast up, takes him to the turf. I mean, you got one linebacker with a broken hand, the other linebacker with a dislocated shoulder, and they're out there giving every ounce of effort they can. I'll tell you what, they may be a little bit undisciplined, they may be a little bit inexperienced, but they certainly don't lack effort.
Carpenter and Jackson, the tight ends. The pitch back to Benning. Gets the first down and 4 to spare before Kevin McDougal, the redshirt freshman, corrals him. Brian, you have an injury report for us.
Well, we checked on Jeff Turner, and he's going to be fine. He's going to be back. Just a little soreness in that shoulder, but they said he'll be back in that next offensive series for Colorado State.
That's good news because he is a weapon in the passing game. There's no doubt about that. He's the 2nd guy in school history that's had 3 consecutive games of 100 yards or more in reception. So he's a key component out there in the passing attack, no doubt.
1st and 10 for the Huskers. Frost play action pass. Swings it off for a little screen pass. Colorado State had it covered exceptionally well.
What an effort out there by Adrian Ross. Man, I'll tell you, it was a throwback screen, and Ross would have none of it. He played his defensive responsibility to a T. He's the defensive end. He locks up on the tackle. He sees the throwback screen materializing here. He gets right in the middle of it, bursts through the blockers, and throws the play for a loss one-on-one against Ahman Green. That's a gold star on the forehead right there.
Loss of 7 on the play. Dave Lay, the defensive coordinator for Colorado State, felt they needed to take chances defensively because they are so outmanned size-wise and experience-wise. Cross upstairs in the flat, complete. Short of the first down is John Vedral, the 5'11" senior out of Gregory, South Dakota. 23 states are represented in that Nebraska lineup, Dave, as far as overall player roster. That is quite a player base.
Well, it's a national power, and it's a national power in recruiting also. That's what back-to-back national championships, and really a 47-yard field goal that's just wide left. They lose 18-16 to Florida State, or it would be back-to-back-to-back national championships. When you build that kind of momentum, everybody wants to come to your school.
And this offense has 9 homegrown Nebraskans starting. Frost on the option, has the first down. Pitches, may have been a forward pitch, and that will not be a touchdown.
You're right.
Crowd might as well get quiet. The penalty flag has been thrown right in front of them.
And there's another flag at the goal line. Let's see if we've got something going on there. 2 flags. There's a flag that finishes off the run, and there's a flag up front for the illegal pitch. It may be 2 penalties against Nebraska, and Colorado State will have their choice. But the forward pitch may nullify everything. I mean, the other penalty is inconsequential unless it's some kind of personal foul deal.
Well, the idea was good by Frost.
Yeah, you can't. Once you're in front of the line of scrimmage, you can't pitch the ball forward like that.
We'll listen in, see what the call is.
We have an illegal forward pass against the offense. We have a 5-yard face mask against the defense.
Oh, it's against the D.
Penalties offset.
Wow.
Oh,
Replay
my.
3rd down.
Well, that certainly helps Nebraska's cause.
Big time. That hurts Colorado State.
Yeah, and I think the face mask penalty occurred at the goal line by a very aggressive defensive player, Kevin McDougal, who wasn't giving up on the play. He had no idea that it was an illegal pitch. He's trying to prevent a touchdown. Let's take a look at it as we take it down the football field. Frost turns it up and throws the ball forward. There's no doubt about it. It's about 2 yards forward. And then McDougal has his penalty offset.
Frost has a man in the flat. They've got the first down. Up to the 35, down to the 33-yard line. Frost on the money with that pass.
Big tight end again.
For Sean Jackson, junior from Omaha, Nebraska.
A guy that rebuilt his body in the Nebraska weight room. I mean, he was a candidate for weightlifter of the year, and about every participant in the Nebraska weight program is a candidate.
Oh, yeah.
They really do a job in that weight room. It's outstanding.
Boyd Epley, their strength and conditioning coach, the former pole vaulter here at Nebraska. 30,000 square foot weight room. It is huge. Frost, straight drop. No, hands it off to Ahman Green. Crosses the 25 down to the 22-yard line. Ransom on the tackle.
Great cutback, great vision by Green, and Holbein at the wide receiver level throws another nice downfield block, but you never know where a talented I-back is going to break the run. This was not designed to go to the right side. It was designed to go off to the left, but look at the cavity on the right side. Great backside blocking, and Holbein gets a block down the football field. When you have a talented back, 8 yards back in the I formation, he can bust it anywhere. You got to sustain the block. 86
yards already on the ground for Ahman Green. Green this time trips up at the 20 down to the 19-yard line.
Well, Nebraska's going back to what they've done well for so many years, Ron, and that's smash mouth football. Get the offensive line coming off the line of scrimmage, kind of build a little bit of confidence. They rushed for over 100 yards as a group in the first quarter. That's on pace for a 400-yard rushing day, which is almost what they averaged last year. Second best in school history, but led the country. And this football team has been built on just hammering you at the line of scrimmage.
Only 226 yards versus Arizona State last week. They may get that in the first half. Some running room down to the 10. Pay dirt. Nebraska.
That's Benning.
Damon Benning taking it the final few yards, saw that pylon and headed right towards it.
And they wanted to get better play out of the I-back in the offense, Ron. And are they getting it? Nebraska now has rushed 25 times for 152 yards. And Benning is capable of doing everything that Amon Green can do for this football team at the I-back. Boy, it's great to have the luxury of two talented players back there.
Chris Brown tacks on the extra point. So Nebraska with 7 in the first, 7 here in the second. 9 plays, 66 yards for the Huskers. They lead 14-0. We'll be back right after this word from Dr. Pepper. Just what the doctor ordered. Damon Benning, his first touchdown of the year. He takes it in to give Nebraska a 14-0 lead with 8:20 left to play in the first half. An offensive line with some wonderful blocks here in this first 2 quarters of play.
Yeah, they're starting to engulf some people up front, Ron. They're really starting to establish themselves at the line of scrimmage.
Colorado State not that deep defensively. And Nebraska might just be wearing them down already.
Great point.
Brown's kick is going to be well into the end zone. And they will not try to run it out.
Let's take a look at what happened up front. The Cornhuskers doing an excellent job on this touchdown run by Benning. Center reaches, guard pulls, tackle blocks down, tight end blocks down. You got an unblocked linebacker that Benning just runs away from. Watch everybody consume their blocks, and he runs right away from the linebacker who can't make a play on it, and that's Willie Taylor. And Benning just turns on the jets, and it's inside the pylon. Ransom can't catch him either. Great blocking up front, and then great execution, acceleration by the I-back.
It is still early, but this would have to be considered an important drive for Colorado State.
Center double.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, he double clutched.
Double pumped it.
Yeah,
Put him back a couple more yards.
He picked the ball up. He was a count early, you know, and he moved the ball on 1, and the snap count was 2.
That is Mike Newell from Littleton, Colorado, the center.
Dead ball, illegal snap on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Newell realizes right, you know, he's made a mistake. He starts moving the ball, double clutches it. I mean, you can't, once you start moving the ball, you just have to finish it. You can't start your snap, stop it, and restart it. That's a legal procedure.
Dave Lay, the offensive coordinator for Colorado State. First and 15, the ball is on the 15-yard line. Moreno had success in the first drive throwing a football and picks up where he left off there. That'll be a first down for the Rams. Eli Workman on the reception, the junior from Billings, Montana.
Well, I'll tell you, Ron, this was a great release and great accuracy on this pass from Moreno. Good blocking up front, gives him vision in the pocket. He slides a little bit, throws between people. He just puts it right in the midst of 3 Cornhusker defenders. That's what he's got to do a little better, is slide and find a spot to throw.
They put it up again. He has a man. It is incomplete, and he may have gotten away with just a little bit of a push. Jeremy Calhoun, the intended receiver. I am very impressed, though, with Moses Moreno. I don't know about you. We talked to his dad last night. He's very proud of his son. He's got a younger brother and a 6'3", 235 linebacker everybody wants. He's still in high school.
Yeah, Notre Dame, Southern Cal. I mean, everybody wants his, and that's the way you have to put it. Not little brother, younger brother. The kid's a horse. And then he's got another son, 13-year-old, that's a great player at that level of football. So the Moreno boys will be around a while.
Dad was a very proud papa last night.
Absolutely.
This time Moses is going to hand it off. They keep it on the ground. Calvin Branch is going to be stopped by Jeff Ogard, the senior out of St. Paul, Nebraska. Ogard, an interesting story. He was really nervous before his first start of the year against Michigan State. He said, I almost got sick to my stomach. I wasn't sure about starting and being the man at that left tackle spot. He gets double teamed a lot, and Charlie McBride really feels that's kind of a dirty job he's got down there.
And he does it well, though, Ron. He's a sequoia. He's 6'6", 310 pounds. You can't uproot the guy. He really does a good job stuffing the run at the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 7. Darrell Ballard split wide to the left. One setback. Nebraska showing blitz. They keep it on the ground. Penalty flag is thrown.
Nebraska lined up offsides. They came in the neutral zone, and I think it was Jamel Williams, that linebacker, that came across the line of scrimmage early, Ron.
They were bringing him. One way people don't realize, too, Dave, I don't think, and you might want to explain it, that one way to beat the blitz sometimes is running the football. It doesn't hurt.
There's no doubt if you find a crease and linebackers are blitzing, there's nobody there to make a play on it. Watch Williams. He tries to time it. Up a little soon. Get back. No, too late. I'm in the neutral zone. That's going to cost me 5.
So much for quick feet.
Yeah. Yep.
He runs a 10-300, though, Jamel Williams, so he's quick. We do know that. Listen in on the call.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
You know what, Ron? All these linebackers were high school running backs, and on defense, they were defensive backs. They can all run. They just beefed them up a little bit. They all run 10-3 to 10-500 meters, and they're playing linebacker. They've got incredible team speed.
Jeremy Calhoun wide to the left. Turner wide to the right. Lone setback on 3rd and 2, or 3rd and 5. Moreno is hit hard. The mouthpiece comes out.
Yeah.
Knocked his mouthpiece farther than he went. Whew. Boy, did he take a shot. But, you know, talking to Moses yesterday, he said, you know, I like to be hit. Doesn't bother me. I don't know if he likes to be hit that hard.
I'm telling you.
Put the mouthpiece back in, Mo. That'll bring up a 4th down situation and 2.
Watch the twisting up front. The defensive tackles twisting, and they're reestablishing different rush lanes. And Moreno tries to slide into a crease, but just can't quite get there. And that's, once again, the team speed everywhere of Nebraska. They have great closing speed. They finish plays.
McDougal back to kick again. 3 deep for Nebraska. They have 8 on the line. With time, this one, he gets it way up in the air. It'll be Fullman all the way back. He fumbles it down to the 2-yard line, and that's where he's going to be done.
Wow.
Colorado State wanted a safety, but instead they're going to get it at the 1-yard line. Nebraska 1st and 10.
And that's one thing that Colorado State was hoping they may have a shot at. They're good at special teams. They invest a lot of time working on special teams. They wanted to make something happen on special teams. Well, it really wasn't necessarily anything they did. It was just a muff of a punt. But they are there to make a play on it, and it was followed up very well by Jones. But really the problem is Fullman not handling the ball. He muffed the punt. Now they have to go the length of the field.
57 yards on the kick. 14-0. The Huskers lead. First man through, crosses the 5-yard line up to the 7-yard line. Brian Schuster, the fullback, 5'11" senior from Fullerton, Nebraska.
Well, this is one area when you've got a mismatch up front. You got a bigger offensive line, but the defensive 7 presented to you. Hammer them right between the tackles. Out there in Arizona State last week in that hostile environment, they tried to run an option and pitched the ball, couldn't get the audible, and pitched the ball through the end zone for a safety.
Play it safe. Benning dancing his way close to the 10-yard line. McDougal coming up from that free safety spot to make the hit. One thing that Sonny Lubick wanted from his defense was not only playing hard, but he said they had to play smart. This was a great opportunity for his defense to grow up.
And they're young. They're giving up 500 yards a game, but they're giving effort. There's not anybody out there that's quitting. Last week they overcame 5 turnovers by their offensive unit and still won the football game because of defensive play.
3rd and 1. Oh, that's going to be close. He may have gotten up to the 11-yard line is where they needed to get for the first down. Devon Hawkins, the junior from Quincy, Illinois, comes up with a stop.
And this is the guy with the most potential on the front 7. He's just got to start playing up to that potential, and he makes a play right there that holds Nebraska from converting a big 3rd down opportunity. So now Colorado State is going to get the football in good field position. I mean, they may get it on Nebraska's side of the football field and have a short field to work with.
Now Colorado State's going to put 10 men on the line as Jesse Cush back to kicking away. He had a 61-yarder earlier. Ronald Antoine, the lone man to receive the punt. Snap a little off to the side, almost blocked. Not a good kick. Colorado State should get good field position. Good roll. Boy, they got a break there. That ball hit at about the 35-yard line, rolled another 15 yards. Colorado State will begin 1st and 10 from their own 45. And Big 12 football will continue after these local messages. And let's take a look at the Big 12 rushing leaders. Byron Hanspard, we had him early on in the season. He is a dandy, averaging over 200 yards a carry. We'll see Henley next week. And Damon Parker from Oklahoma, 143.5 yards a carry. Once again, Big 12 having some of the premier runners in college football. Colorado State trailing 14-0. They have it 1st and 10. Washington with a little bit of running room in Nebraska territory. He is hit. The penalty flag will be thrown, and that is a good call. Eric Warfield, I think, is going to be called for the infraction. The junior from Texarkana, Arkansas. Jamel Williams is chasing him out of bounds. Also came on that play. Those are mistakes you don't want to have.
No, and you just have to be aware of where you are on the football field.
Dead ball, personal foul, gets the defense, a hit out of bounds, automatic first down.
You know, there's a white 5 yards in width. Is this big white mark on the sideline. A little counter play. Colorado State's offensive lineman get out in front. Once you get into this white area, let it go. You know, kind of let it go. I don't know. It's touchy though. I mean, you're sprinting full speed. It's hard to stop on a dime like that. Warfield just playing aggressively. It's kind of a borderline shot.
Well, now Colorado State with some pretty good field position. Ball on the 32, 1st and 10, 3:36 left in the first half. Moreno looking deep. Has a man who's tripped up. No, touchdown, Colorado State. Ronald Antoine was fighting between two Nebraska defenders. No, I take it back. It's Jeff Turner. Somehow he came up with that. Dave, he was in a major crowd.
He was, but Moreno knew exactly where he was going to be, and the reason he was able to throw the football so accurately, tremendous protection up front by his offensive line. There was 5 yards of separation between any Nebraska defender and Moreno. Perfect vision down the field and threw an accurate dart.
Boy, that was impressive. Turner, the transfer from Iowa State. Coaches felt they've got a lot more than they expected from this young man.
They blocked it.
The extra point is blocked. 2 block kicks, 1 field goal, 1 extra point by Nebraska.
And that time he kicked it so low it hit one of his offensive linemen in the butt, I think. I don't think it got off the ground.
Well, we're going to give it to Grant Wistrom just because we like his hair. Or the lack of it.
I'll tell you.
Well, McDougal not getting much air underneath it.
No.
Jeff Turner, a wonderful story to transfer.
Well, Moreno is now 5 of 10. Moreno is for 91 yards and a touchdown. Let's take a look at Turner. He's on the outside. He's number 1 on the outside. All he does is run a little post pattern down the middle of the football field. Just great concentration on the ball, and effort is made to deflect it, to knock it away by Booker. And he's a great cover guy, but Moreno knew he threw an accurate pass, and he had confidence that his man, Turner, would make a play, and he beat Booker, the best cover guy Nebraska has to offer.
10th touchdown pass for Moses Moreno.
And boy, this extra point was it low. Man, he never got this ball off the turf at all. It hit somebody in the back of the helmet, I think. Man.
Now, Moreno alternated at quarterback last year, but at spring practice they gave him the ball. Then he gets this young man, the Turner. Jeff Turner, whose fiancée is battling leukemia. It has been a difficult year for this young man, but he has stood up to the challenge effectively.
He's a quality kid, I'll tell you. He's got his priorities straight, and he knows what life's all about, that's for sure, and he certainly appreciates playing football.
14-6 is our score. It's going to be Benning taking it about the 5. Stutter steps, looking for some room, still on his feet. Willie Taylor brings him down at the 33-yard line, and with 3:15 left in the first half, Nebraska leads 14-6. But thanks to the fumbled punt and great field position, Colorado State gets on the board. 32-yard pass to Turner took him only 21 seconds.
Well, they were aided by that 15-yard unsportsmanlike personal foul on the sideline. And it was iffy. It was questionable, but it certainly helped the effort of Colorado State. But Moreno, what a great throw.
Green around the right side. He has a convoy in front of him up to the 40-yard line, knocked out of bounds at the 41. Now the fans wanted another late hit. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper roundup. Miami all over Pitt at halftime. Clemson by a couple of TDs over Wake Forest. That's in the second. Boston College trailing Navy at intermission. Purdue leading North Carolina State 28-6 also in quarter number 2. And Northwestern trailing Indiana. South Carolina, Mississippi State tied at 7. And Michigan State 17-0 leaders also in the second. Second down and 3 for Nebraska. Green spinning his way close to the 45-yard line, be close to a first down. Kirk Bowman, the senior from Glendora, California, who missed all of last year because of a knee injury, having a very strong season at that left tackle spot.
Well, Amon Green is already rushed for more yards than he had last week against Arizona State. Last week he had 87 yards on 20 carries. Already today he's got 97 yards on only 13 lugs. So he's certainly got a much more efficient day going.
Reset the clock. Reset the clock to 2:38.
Well, they're giving instructions to the press box. Want to put on 19 seconds on the...
Reset the clock.
There you go, 2:38. One thing this Colorado State defense hasn't done so far, David, and something that is something they haven't done the last couple of years, they don't give up the big play very often.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're taking some chances today, Ron. I mean, they got the safeties kind of nosy in the running game. They've only got 7 in the box on initial alignment. They have the safeties kind of close to the line of scrimmage, and they're risking a big play today.
Cross with a quick pitch this time to Green. Crosses the 50 into Ram territory.
Amon Green has broken the century mark for the first time this year. 108 yards now on 15 carries, and I'll tell you, this is going to be a little bit disturbing to defensive coordinator Larry Kerr, because he wanted Frost to have to beat them in the option holding the football, not the pitch man Green.
Second down and just about 1. Ooh, hit right at the line of scrimmage, but lunging forward will be short of the first down.
Hawkins again. He's a stud, Ron. I mean, this guy could be their best defensive lineman. He's got the potential to do that. He's 6'2", 292 pounds. He's got the low center of gravity. He plays with leverage. He just has to get the motor out of neutral more than he does. Get it in overdrive.
We have a timeout. We look at Hawkins. This is something that Colorado State can't afford any injuries, however. They are thin there. 3 defensive tackles, 3 defensive ends, and they knew that all those guys were probably going to play today because Nebraska just wears you down so much.
You're right, Ron, and then you go to the linebacker level. You got guys that are just kind of beaten up at that level with injuries too, so they are thin up front.
Now look at it this way. Next week they'll be in Hawaii. They can take it easy before they head to Tulsa as we take a look at Nations Bank schedule. Proud sponsor of the Nations Bank schedule. Wind up with Wyoming on November the 16th. And Nebraska at Kansas State.
Well, that's a big one.
Boy, then they come right back. Baylor has really circled October 12th on their calendar. Then they have to go to Lubbock. They host Kansas. Oklahoma game usually at the end of November. Now at November 2nd, because the big battle, of course, on the 29th. Nebraska and Colorado right here in Lincoln.
You know, Ron, one thing Nebraska's doing is controlling the tempo of the game. They've run 42 plays now to Colorado State's 20 snaps, so they have a 2-to-1 margin there.
Nebraska very content to just keep it on the ground. On 3rd down and 1, they get it as they move up to the 40-yard line. Green is getting the workhorse load. We weren't sure how much he was going to be alternating with Damon Benning early on. They felt, the coaches felt, that maybe Green hadn't been playing up to what he should have been playing the first couple games.
Yeah, one thing they wanted him to do was run hard. He's been running hard, but boy, he's showing a little more acceleration today, a little more burst.
Ross looking for the tight end down the middle. Instead, he goes short, complete to Brendan Holbein. Holbein, the former walk-on, comes up with another reception. First down, Cornhuskers, all the way down to about the 22-yard line.
Well, pretty good idea. You know, Colorado State, they've got those safeties hammering up in there as extra linebackers against the run. Just run a little play action, throw the football behind them a little bit. You get a matchup wide receiver on a linebacker. That's a tough matchup.
Ross again, a pitch inside to Green. He's down to the 10, down to the 8-yard line.
Little shovel pass.
I don't think people realize how difficult that play is to run.
And it's a safe play, Ron, because if it's not executed, it's an incompletion. It's a forward pass. It's a shovel pass. This is not a fumble if Amon Green does not handle the ball. The lineman pulls out in front, a little shovel pass. He escorts him down the field very, very well. Amon Green takes advantage of some nice blocking up front by the big horse, Chris Dishman.
Ross keeps it down to the 5, fumbles it out of bounds, but it'll be Nebraska's ball with 1:01 left to play in the first half. Kwame and Taylor running Frost out of bounds.
And they'll move the ball back to the point of where he fumbled it. You can't fumble it forward. They'll move it back to where he lost control of the football.
This Nebraska used to be a straight I formation. Since the 80s, they moved to that I formation, that option I, and since that time in the 80s, they finished 1, 2, 3 in NCAA in offense. And Tom Osborne just kind of went with the times, both offensively and defensively, in switching schemes.
Well, he certainly did. And they're so sophisticated in their running game, Ron. They run 1-back set, 2-back set. They run the option. They run the power game. They run misdirection stuff. When you're a linebacker, you're mentally and physically challenged playing Nebraska because they show so many different looks to run the same type of play. They really keep you off balance.
We've got a timeout with 1:01 left. Nebraska leading 14-6, and probably a little bit closer first half, as Colorado State was as much as a 38-point underdog in this ball game. But they are not rushing the football the way they had anticipated for Colorado State.
Oh, look at that number. 192 yards for Nebraska, 25 for Colorado State. You know, we mentioned the way for Nebraska to get back on track is to start running the ball like they did when they won the rushing title 4 out of the last 5 years, and shut down the opposition running the ball, make them one-dimensional. They are certainly getting that done here this afternoon. Nebraska approaching 200 yards on the ground. Colorado State only a quarter of a century mark. That's unbelievable mismatch there.
Of course, last week against Arizona State, about 130 yards running the football. Much more success today.
Well, they want to do what Nebraska does best. You know, that's just come off the football, pound some people, sustain some blocks, get those big 300-pound offensive linemen pushing and pressing, and get those talented I-backs behind them and see what they could get done. And they're doing a good job of it this afternoon.
Second down and goal, ball on the 4-yard line for Nebraska. I formation. Benning from the tailback spot. Frost is going to keep it, dives for the end zone, touchdown.
That's what Colorado State defensively wanted to have happen. They wanted Frost to beat them running the option and not the pitch man. Well, that time Frost burned them. They took away his pitch right away. Frost turned it up the football field for a touchdown. He's thrown for one, and now he rushes for one.
56 seconds left in the half. Colorado State put 6 on the board, but Nebraska answers. Chris Brown on to attempt the extra point. Brown is perfect this afternoon, and with 56 seconds left to play in the first half, Nebraska has opened up a 21-6 margin over Colorado State. 9 plays, 67 yards on the drive. Nebraska averaging almost 6 yards every time they touch the football.
Yeah, they're really getting it done. Haven't taken advantage of every opportunity, but they certainly took advantage of this one. The offensive line, look at them reestablish the line of scrimmage backwards. Fullback once again with the key block. That was detonation out there on the perimeter. Done very well by Schuster. And Frost just snuggled up cozy to him and just took it up inside his block to the end zone.
A 107th year of football here in Nebraska. They are looking for their 700th win today, and Joe Paterno's trying to do the same at Penn State, trying to get Penn State's 700th win.
Yep, and they're trying to join the ranks of some teams that have gotten it done. Michigan, Texas, Alabama. I tell you, that's pretty darn good company. Notre Dame.
I think what I like is the fact that Bob Devaney, the former coach prior to Tom Osborne, and Tom Osborne have 333 of the 699 wins.
You know what's amazing, Ron, is you think of all the numbers that Tom Osborne's run up here, but 2 that stand out to me. At home here, over the last 9 years, they're 52-2. Since 1980, they're 96-9 here at Lincoln. Those are mind-boggling. They've won 31 straight here at home. That's incredible.
Never lost more than 3 games a year. Washington at about the 2. Heads to his left, going to be wrapped up at the 15-yard line. A return of 13 on the play.
Take a look at what Coach Tom Osborne's done here. Look at some of these numbers are just
that's impressive.
Outstanding. You know, 23 9-win seasons. Most programs they celebrate when they get a 9-win season. He's done it 23 years. Look at that record, 82.5%. in the winning percentage. 12 Big 8 championships. That's getting it done. I mean, that's just, you know, you get to a certain level, there's no seat at the ladder, top of the ladder of success to maintain it. Everybody's taking a shot at you. It's their bowl game every week, and you're still sustaining it.
Been in Nebraska since 1962. Moreno's going to call a timeout as the running play got absolutely nothing.
And at the line by number 97, Jeff Bogart. And number 98, Grant Wistrom. Also in on the tackle, number 42.
Tom Osborne, 4-year starter at Hastings College in Nebraska. Played 3 years in the NFL, believe it or not. A couple at Washington, 1 year at San Francisco.
And you know, when he speaks of the quarterback position, he knows of what he says. He was a quarterback. So he knows what Scott Frost's going through, trying to make the mental and physical adjustment to playing at this level of competition in a system that's fairly complex and relies on the quarterback making decisions, you know, quite a bit. So he understands it. One thing that Coach Osborne is patient.
Very much.
I mean, he's loyal. This whole program, it just oozes loyalty. I mean, he's been here forever. A lot of his assistants have been here 20 years or more. You get that continuity, and that's part of the reason this program has been so successful for years and years and years, is you have that continuity. The recruits understand that the coach and his staff are going to be here all 4 of their years, and that really helps you.
Tom has been part of Nebraska since '62, 11 years as an assistant, took over in '73. Second down and 11, 47 seconds left in the half. Colorado State with the football, trailing by 15. They're going to keep it on the ground. Crossing the 20-yard line, it is Damon Washington.
You know, there's a guy that just came up into the broadcast booth that played with the Cincinnati Bengals. He was in Super Bowl 23 in 1988 against the 49ers and is one of Charlie McBride's favorites. Defensive end Jim Scow goes into the Hall of Fame here at Nebraska, and I'll tell you, this is a guy.
Is that the guy you were trashing in supper last night?
Yeah,
wasn't worth anything?
This guy understood the game of football better than anybody. Got under your pads, tremendous body strength. He is a great player.
We talked about how consistent this program is. This blew me away when we were looking at the notes earlier this week. Look how long these assistants have been. Charlie McBride telling us, I've stayed here because of my family. I'm working with a great football coach. It's a wonderful city. And Milt Tenneper, the offensive line coach, 23 years. He has had numerous All-Americans, Outland Trophy winners, Lombardi Trophy winners. That's impressive.
It is, you know, and it sounds cornball to people, you know, that you talk about family atmosphere and love and loyalty and all that, but it's the real deal here at Nebraska. I mean, you can just feel it everywhere. And Charlie McBride, he starts talking about some of his players when you talk to him, and he gets watery-eyed. I mean, you know, it's like his extension of sons everywhere. He's really into it.
He says it is a family on defense. They call them the Black Shirts. Well, Moreno's going to try to put it up. Throws a very dangerous pass, but the only one close to that was Sonny Lubick, his coach. Intended for Jeff Turner. Eric Stokes was on the coverage.
And Moreno shaking that, Moreno, I should say. He wears number 13, and he kind of throws the ball like Dan Marino, but his name's Moreno, and he's shaking that right hand a little bit. It looked like he hit a helmet on his follow-through, and that's an injury that quarterbacks hate, boy, when they hit that passing hand on somebody's dome.
Mike Fullman set to receive the kick. Fullman already has a touchdown on her punt return this year.
Yeah, he blew one up at Michigan State. He just blew him away. He got to the wall, and it was all over with.
His longest is 62 yards. McDougal set to kick. He's at a 40 and a 47-yarder. Pressure's on, line drive. Fullman should be able to return this. Goes right up the middle.
He slipped to the turf, and in college football, you're down when your knee hits.
And he hit it at the 40, a 30-yard punt, only a 9-yard return, but Nebraska still has 24 seconds left, and that's enough time to light the old fuse on some fireworks. We talked, Dave, at the beginning of the game that Scott Frost had a great deal of pressure. Coaches wanted a nice first quarter from him, a safe one, just to take some of the pressure off from the media and the fans, and I think he's done just that.
Yeah, good numbers throwing the football, 8 of 11. They've kept it simple, given him an opportunity to complete some passes, 71 yards. He's thrown a touchdown pass and run the ball well. Good decisions in the option. He's got a touchdown rushing, so he's coming along.
Safety valve pass off to the side. Green down to the 30-yard line before he steps out of bounds. Pickup of 10 on the play. Tetris Nunn, the true freshman from Colorado Springs, on the coverage.
You know, the thing that amazes me when I watch guys like Amon Green run is how still their head is. I mean, everything on their lower body is going crazy and giving you the loose leg and the swivel hips and everything, but you could put an egg on their helmet, it wouldn't roll off. They run so fluidly. All the great running backs do that. He certainly is one of them.
Nebraska has a timeout left. Let's see if they try to get a little bit closer, call the timeout, and kick the field goal. Green to Frost right. He's going to keep it himself. Quarterback draw. Big hole up the middle and a lot of room to run. Down to the 10-yard line. 9 seconds showing on the clock. That was a great read by Scott Frost.
This is a quarterback draw, as you called it, Ron, but it's a counteraction up front by the offensive line. They do a nice job of confusing Colorado State up front. Watch the left guard and left tackle pull, just like the old counter tray. It's out of the shotgun. Direct snap to Frost. The guard kicks out. Tackle True turns it upfield, and he's got green pastures ahead of him. Now Frost is nimble-footed, plus he's got a strong body. This is a guy that won the shot put championship when he was a senior in high school. He won the state championship, and the runner-up was his right tackle, Eric Anderson. Here's a kid that put the shot 59 feet, and he's playing quarterback at Nebraska. He's a very unique athlete.
Well, interesting as we look at Scott Frost's rushing numbers. 9 carries, 52 yards. I don't think they're going to kick the field goal. I think they want the whole enchilada here.
Yeah, they want to go for the gusto.
Let me get a couple more of those in, can't we?
Yeah.
Go for it all?
Yeah.
Well, Sonny Lubick was afraid this might happen. He got down 14-6, and things were looking pretty good.
I think Tom Osborne feels comfortable with his place kicker. I think he wants to give his offense as many opportunities to get on track as he possibly can. He has confidence that his defense will keep Nebraska in the game if they don't execute on these plays. He wants the offense to get something done.
Frost, 3-step drop, looks into the flat, goes for the money, doesn't get it.
Plus, you had 9 seconds. You can still come out and kick.
Right. And that's exactly what Tom Osborne's going to do. John Vedral, the intended receiver, thought he had at least 2 more plays left in that 9 seconds.
Well, what he wanted to run a fade here. And his receiver tries to get that done, runs the fade up to the corner, Vedral, and the ball is just overthrown. You want to throw that to the outside shoulder instead of the inside shoulder. You don't want to give the defensive back any opportunity to make a play on the ball. Throw it to the outside shoulder, out of bounds.
Chris Brown 2 for 2 this year coming into the game. This is a 27-yard attempt. Good snap, good hold, and a good kick. Final play of the first half is a 27-yard field goal by sophomore Chris Brown from Southlake, Texas. The Huskers will head to the locker room with a 24-6 lead. Tacking on 17 points in quarter number 2. I think you'd have to give their offense pretty good grades, Dave, in that first 30 minutes of play. They did exactly what they needed to do.
Yeah, the only miscue was the 4th down pass attempt. Scott Frost had his big tight end, Sheldon Jackson, wide open, threw the ball behind him, and that would have been a touchdown. If they put that touchdown on the board, 31-6, it would have been probably a perfect offensive first half.
Let's go down to Brian Nooner.
Well, Coach, Colorado State crept back in it, but then you close out the half with 2 nice tries mixing the run and the pass.
Yeah, the last 4 or 5 minutes were important to us because they were certainly back in the game at 14-7, and they've got a great offensive team. I think our defense has played well to hold them to 6 points. And we moved the ball some, so we're doing a little better.
Yeah, coming into this game, they're averaging 39 points a game. Like you mentioned, holding to 6. You've got your running game on track, it appears.
Yeah, we're running pretty well. We're playing a little better offensively.
All right, good luck second half, Coach. Ron, let's send it back up to you.
Thank you, Brian. Nebraska averaging 6 yards. They lead at halftime 24-6. More halftime activities coming your way from Lincoln, Nebraska right after this.
I think we can move it. Again, we got to give our quarterback an extra second to throw the football, and if we can do that, we'll catch the football, but we got to be able to do that.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us, Coach. Sonny Lubick of Colorado State.
And we are underway. They're going to run it out. Calvin Branch does not get up to the 20. Not a very smart move when you're down by that many. Let's take a look at the Discover Card halftime stats, brought to you by Discover Card, proud partners of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. And the numbers really all Nebraska, and I think one of the keys, though, is the rushing yards. Colorado State wanted to run the football. Not successful.
Not successful. Nebraska wanted to run it, and they certainly did. Over 2 football fields rushing. And look at the time at possession differential there. And also, Nebraska's run so many more snaps at the line of scrimmage than Colorado State.
Colorado State once again lone setback. Moreno is going to do what he did in the first quarter. Put the ball up. It is incomplete. Intended for Jeff Turner, the wide receiver, who already has a touchdown. Moreno in that first half, 5 for 12. 91 yards.
Not a bad performance. I'm sure he'd like to have done a little bit more. I think one of the keys in that first half was Moreno and his offensive troops answered Nebraska's touchdown drive to start the game. Had to settle for a field goal opportunity. It was blocked. That had to hurt your mentality a little bit.
Moreno now has a touchdown pass in every game this year. Throws into the flat. He has Turner at the 30. Gets away from the defender. Picks up about 7 more after the reception. Up to the 39-yard line. That'll be a first down for Colorado State. Michael Booker, who has been having some problems with tendonitis, on the coverage.
Oh, Booker was MVP in the Fiesta Bowl. He had an outstanding game in the Fiesta Bowl, the national championship game. And Moreno, like you said, Ron, at the touchdown pass in every game. Coming into today, he'd thrown for at least 250 yards passing in every game. He's going to have to pick it up a little bit this afternoon to get that done.
First and 10, ball on the 39-yard line. This time to try it on the ground to Damon Washington. Damon's brother Riley was an All-American trackster here at Nebraska. He is second in the WAC in rushing the football, 20th in the nation.
One thing that Nebraska is doing up front defensively is Colorado State's not reestablishing the line of scrimmage down the football field. Nebraska's getting stalemates or pushing Colorado State backwards a little bit. They have dominated the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively for the most part.
No gain on the play, second and 10. 2 wide receivers to the right. 1 to the left, lone setback. Moreno, 3-step drop. Quick slant. Oh, it's intercepted at the 40. A lot of room to run down to the 20, down to the 15-yard line. Jamel Williams with his first interception of the year.
Well, Eli Workman couldn't make the catch. The ball bounces off of his hands, and then it's down the football field. That's the first interception of the season for Jamel Williams. I tell you, he's a great player, though. I mean, he can get some things done.
Only the 4th interception of the year for Moreno, but you really can't give that to Moreno.
No, that's his tight end. His big tight end, Eli Workman, has to make a play on this, and he can't control it. And then it's off to the races. And I'll tell you what, that's a quality athlete right there. Now, that's a linebacker that's running like a tailback.
Now this young defense of Colorado State has got to stand tall, or this could be a blowout early. Green will try the left side, spinning around, makes his way up to the 10-yard line. Octavius McFarland on the stop.
You know, Moreno has thrown 4 interceptions. 3 of them now have been tipped. 2 at the line of scrimmage, and this last one not controlled by his tight end. That's a very catchable football. Bounces off his hands, hits him in the face mask, and then deflects to the defensive player, Jamel Williams, who says, "Thank you very much."
Pickup of 3 on the play, 2nd and 7. Frost looking in the flat, has his man to the 5, steps out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Sean Whiting, a wingback, number 33, not even on the depth chart, makes the reception.
And if Frost could have hit him maybe a little bit sooner, or if Whiting could have kept his feet maybe just a little bit better, keep himself in bounds, he would have scored a touchdown. But he just couldn't get his feet back underneath him to right himself and get himself back up the football field. He can control his feet. He walks into the corner of the end zone.
3rd down and a yard. The pitch to Green. Tries to get the first down. Is hit behind the line of scrimmage. We have a penalty and maybe a face mask.
Yep.
Todd Selecki comes from that right tackle spot, the junior from Durango, Colorado.
And Amon Green takes his helmet off. He says, "Man, that was a vicious one there."
About took his neck off.
Yeah. That's what happens. Anytime you tackle high, you run a chance of having that happen. And you know, that's not how coaches teach you to tackle. They don't teach you to hit high and hog tie people. They teach you to get your head across the bow, try to knock the football out of there, and wrap people up. And That's
one way how to get him down.
That's not form tackling right there by Selecki. And that's how you can, the reason that those penalties are called, you can sustain serious neck injuries that way. There's no question about that.
I think after he brought him down with a face mask, he reached up again.
Face mask, 5 yards on the defense. The penalty goes half the distance. It'll be a first down.
Well, Nebraska now first down and goal, ball sitting at the 2-yard line. And when you have linemen averaging over 300 pounds, this is a great situation to be in.
Oh, there's no question about it. And this was something that one of the musts for Colorado State was no margin for error. Well, they put themselves in a serious error situation here by that deflected interception.
Green is the tailback. Frost changing the play at the line. 2-step into the flat. Touchdown, Nebraska. Sheldon Jackson on the reception.
Second touchdown pass of the afternoon for Scott Frost. And he put some velocity on this one. He's definitely got arm strength. His accuracy is the thing that's eluded him on a real consistent basis, but he can get the football there. I mean, he can throw from the opposite hash mark and throw a sideline pattern, a frozen rope, and get it there in a heartbeat.
Chris Brown to attempt the extra point. Snaps a little high, but they get it down, and the kick is good. Brown remains perfect on the afternoon, and it didn't take Nebraska long. The interception in just over 2 minutes. They've got a couple more on the board. They lead at 31-6. Nebraska has not lost back-to-back games since 1976. It happened only once in the Tom Osborne era, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen today. 31-6, they lead it. Brown set to kick off. Once again, a good deep kick by Brown. Chris Brown, the sophomore from South Lake, Texas, used to have some pretty good locks. Said some of the defensive players held him down a few weeks ago, shaved his head. Now he told us yesterday, I'm going to keep it like this. It's my new image.
That's right, he shaves it before every game, I think.
That's what he said. There you see it. Nebraska scoring drive, 4 plays, 13 yards, 62 seconds.
Scott Frost likes his tight ends by the name of Jackson. He's thrown to both of them, different numbers, but the same last name, Jackson and Jackson. It's a law firm here in Lincoln. Not really.
It might be. Well, now the crowd sensing the kill. Nebraska showing 7 on the line of scrimmage. Moreno a couple of tight ends. He keeps it on the ground. Heading to the outside is Damon Washington. He is wrapped up at about the 25-yard line. Pick up a 5 on the play. Jamel Williams in on the stop. Jamel Williams, coaches were telling us how he was born with loose joints, they called it.
I hate when that happens.
Boy, I tell you. Played I-back in high school. Said he was an amazing runner.
Oh yeah, he was just a slasher. I mean, a pounder at that I-back. And he's a nasty defensive player. He can just fly to the football, and he does it every snap.
Had 17 tackles against Arizona State last week. 2nd and 4. Joey Porter in motion. They keep it on the ground. Close to the first down, be about a yard short.
You know, it's interesting, Nebraska now sensing, getting a pretty good idea of what Colorado State's doing by formation a little bit. And that time, Farley lined up from the outside linebacker position and bounced around the inside. Watch him moving his way into the 8 gap between the guard and the center to blitz on the run and get involved in the tackle. I mean, he lined up on the extreme outside and moved to the inside in the gap.
On 3rd and 1. The pitch back to Washington, and he is going to be run out of bounds well short of the first down.
Farley's getting involved. He's been involved now in back-to-back plays and getting juiced up a little bit out there. The crowd's getting into it. His teammates are getting into it, and he is flying. Watch him inside-out pursuit. Here's a guy that can run. He runs the tailback down from behind. That's speed right there, folks.
He plays the game fast, doesn't he?
He really does. Absolutely. He was the guy that Dave Lay, the offensive coordinator, Colorado State, feared the most.
For good reason. McDougal set the kick. The rush is coming. He hits a line drive. Taken and dropped, and a penalty immediately. 37-yard kick. Pullman had no place to go on the return, but there is a penalty flag thrown right at the point of contact.
Is that another face mask penalty?
How could you face mask a guy when he's right in front of you like that?
I don't know what the call is here. I don't know what.
Maybe he didn't give him enough room.
Well, he didn't signal fair catch. I know that. I didn't see that.
Interference with the opportunity
to make
a fair catch.
Boy, it looked like
against the kicking team in the 5-yard belt. First down.
You have to give him 5 yards, and I guess it wasn't quite 5 yards, but Olson, a little bit surprised. He looked at the official shaking his head like, boy, I thought he had room to catch that football, but he was flagged.
Nebraska leads 31-6. Look at it again.
Now, remember, you have to give him a 5-yard buffer. And it definitely didn't give him a 5-yard buffer. He didn't really impede his vision or anything, but he was well within 5-yard area, that's for sure.
Frost looks for the pass straight down the middle, has a man, it is complete to John Vedral.
And he went right after Olson. Olson had the penalty called. He went down the middle of the football field. Olson never turned around to find the ball. Vedral did, and he was rewarded with the reception completion.
Vedral, the former walk-on, his brother Mike played tight end for Nebraska.
Scott Frost has plenty of arm strength. I mean, that's never a question that anybody has had. Rumors are that he can throw the ball 80 yards in the air. I mean, he was a shot put champion in high school. But as you can see, Olson never found the ball. He was concentrating too much on the receiver, never found the ball, and the receiver made the adjustment.
37 yards on the carry, and Green up to the 15-yard line. One thing Frost said, which I think impressed a lot of people, he said, it's not just up to me to replace Tommy Frazier, but the whole team's got to step up. And I think that was a pretty good point. A lot of people put so much emphasis on the quarterback, but he needed help from everyone.
Well, you're absolutely right. There's no doubt Tommy Frazier set a standard that is almost impossible to duplicate, but he had a pretty good supporting cast. The offensive line last year might have been one of the best in the history of this program.
On 2nd and 5, first man through, nothing but Paters. Brian Schuster from the fullback position scores his first touchdown of 1996.
And that's what I was talking about earlier when I said if you're a linebacker for a defensive football team playing against Nebraska, you have to be on your toes at all time. And Scott Frost reverse pivots out of there, but he'd already given the football to his fullback. It was kind of a backdoor play. He looked like he was going to option down the line of scrimmage to the left. Schuster was already in the end zone before Colorado State could react. Great execution.
That's classic Nebraska, wasn't it?
Oh, big time.
Brown to attempt the extra point. Uh-oh. Snap is fumbled. They're going to go down with it. Well, John Vedral just couldn't get the ball down after the snap from Adam True. And the extra point is no good, but with 11:06 left to play. In the third quarter, the Huskers are opening it up here in Lincoln. They lead 37-6. Nebraska now with over 200 more yards than Colorado State, and they have 31 more points. 37-6 is our score with 11:06 left to play in the third quarter. Chris Brown set to kick it away. Colorado State 0-5 against Nebraska here in Lincoln. The last meeting was back in 1993. They lost that game 48-13. This Colorado State team, 3 of their first 5 games this year have been against ranked opponents. Brown really showing some leg strength. That'd have been a field goal.
Man. That's hard to do. That is tough to do.
He likes it. Colorado State takes over 1st and 10 on the 20. Let's take a look at that last touchdown by the Huskers.
Yeah, this linebacker gets blocked, but watch what happens to Taylor. As the linemen pull, watch him chase it. He thinks he's going to defend the option down the line of scrimmage, and they backdoor him. Schuster has green pastures. Nobody. He would have scored in one finger touch. Unbelievable.
Keep the football, young man. Well, let's see if Moreno can try to do something on the board. Being pressured, gets it out of the flat. Pickup of only 2 on the play on the completion to Justin Scholl. Jamel Williams just wrestling the big tight end out of bounds.
Oh, Jamel Williams has been probably the most consistent defensive performer. 13 tackles in game 1 against Michigan State, 17 last week, 6 tackles for losses, 3 quarterback sacks. Now he's got his first interception of the year earlier in this half. This guy's a football player all the way.
Bad for a guy who last year had both knees reconstructed. Not too bad. A lot of movement. Penalty flags are down. Washington on the carry up to the 30-yard line, close to the first down before being dropped by Warfield and Octavius McFarland.
And Wistrom, I think, as Tomic jumped. Wistrom was a little bit antsy, too. I mean, those defensive ends are listening to the quarterback too much. Look at the football. Get that peripheral vision into the ball and move when it moves.
Two completely different guys, Wistrom and Thomas. They are excellent football players, personality-wise, 180 degrees.
Look at them both. Jumpy in that neutral zone. That's a no-go. That's a free 5-yard penalty right there. And really, they've gotten them more than once. I mean, now they're penalizing Colorado State.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty.
Oh, they're just going back to walk it out. Panic there for a second, Sam. They're going to take the play instead of the game. They'll take the penalty and keep it second down. So now it's second and short. Colorado State will try to convert.
Moreno over on the sideline talking to Lubick. He is back out, handing the play over to the rest of the troops.
I really like this kid, though. The one thing Moreno's going to do is slide in the pocket, throw between people, find lanes to throw between, because he's had a couple of passes tipped for interception.
2nd and 3. Right up the middle, up to the 29-yard line, and is Calvin Branch, a senior from Spring, Texas.
I tell you, he had Tomic flinching again. Moreno has got him on a string. They've got to block the quarterback out. 3rd downs, Colorado State has not converted on 3rd down all afternoon. They're 0 for 6. Nebraska on the flip side of it, 7 for 11, so that's a huge factor in this football game. And part of the reason is they haven't converted is they've been 3rd and 1. This 3rd and 1, Colorado State should be able to convert to keep this drive alive.
Incredibly loud here at Memorial Stadium. They'll get the first down, but not by a whole lot. Now this offensive line has really been hurt. They've had to rebuild the offensive line for Colorado State. They lost Adam Wallace, a tackle with a leg fracture, versus Oregon on the fourth play of that game. But this time they had a pretty good surge.
And watch Mike Newell. He's the guy. It's a quarterback sneak, and they wedge right up behind him. He just kind of covers his guy up. Not a quarterback sneak, I should say, just a straight dive by the fullback by Washington. Covers his man up. Nice block.
A little too much time.
We got an illegal substitution against the White.
Well, they were trying to get off the field. Jeff Turner ran out. And it looked like they were trying to get Jeremy Calhoun off the field before anything happened. And they didn't get him off soon enough.
Dead ball. Illegal substitution against the offense. Still first down.
Now Calhoun comes back in. Ronald Antoine comes out.
Oh, yeah, the substitution was a little bit late. You can't substitute that late outside of the hash mark because the defense doesn't have an opportunity to adjust personnel.
Jeff Turner wide to the left. Moreno, little play action. Looking for Turner, a little bit short on the play. And Moreno took a shot.
And that's one thing that this young kid is tough in the pocket. He stands tall in the pocket. He doesn't shy away from contact. I tell you, he really has a nice throwing arm. He really is a good leader with his football team. A little play action fake, trying to freeze the linebackers a little bit.
Oh, I'll tell you, that was close.
Takes a little push from behind, Mr. Thomas.
Surprised that wasn't a penalty. 2nd and 15. To Washington. Maybe up to the 30-yard line. Pickup of about 3 on the play. Set up a 3rd and 12 situation.
And once again, Colorado State running the counter gap is what they call it. Everybody's got a little bit different terminology, but they pull the backside lineman. The guard kicks out, and the tackle pulls around the horn. This was made popular initially by the Washington Redskins with their Hogs and John Riggins running the ball in that one-back set. You'd have Russ Grimm and Joe Jacoby coming around the corner and John Riggins running the ball. That was a massive humanity there.
3rd down and 12. 8 minutes left to play in the 3rd. Moreno's being rushed. Steps up in the pocket. Loses the football and is going to be dropped. Jason Wills coming in from that left tackle position. The sophomore from New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, that's also there.
The initial disruption was by Jamel Williams. He's the one that disrupted the pocket and made Moreno step up and try to make something happen. Then his teammates all got involved in the action, but Jamel Williams came on a blitz. Let's take a look at it. Number 28 at the bottom of the screen. He defeats the running back on the blitz pickup, makes him step up in the pocket, and then all heck breaks loose from Moreno. It's all over with.
Williams having a great game today. McDougal's kick, end over end. Pullman taking it about the 37-yard line and makes his way up to about the 44. And with 7:07 left in the 3rd quarter, Nebraska leads at 37-6. Let's go to Brian Nooner on the sideline. Brian?
Thank you, Ron. You know, you saw the Nebraska black shirt defense at its finest on that last sequence. And you may be wondering, why are they called the black shirts? Well, it goes back to the mid-1960s when defensive coordinator George Kelly was here, and he had the first-team defensive unit of Nebraska wear black practice jerseys. That's simply how it started. Now, Tom Osborne told me that when Monty Kiffin came on board in the late 60s, he really exploited this idea. He got everyone involved and made it a pride factor. And as you can see by the young man that's sitting next to me, even the fans were involved. They all got the black shirts. Everybody's involved and really gets the crowd going.
Well, the defense is doing the job, and so is Amon Green. The big run for Green.
Well, a key for Colorado State was tackling. Amon Green, a little counter action. His linemen get the blocks up the football field. A missed tackle by Olsen, and then it's off to the races. Olsen has to make that play, and as a result of him not making the tackle, Green gets an extra 30 yards. He's now got 162 yards rushing.
Cross looking for the quick hitch. Got it. Complete to Brendan Holbein. Down to the 5-yard line. Pickup of 15 on the play. Once again, this Colorado State defense ranked 110th in the NCAA.
Yeah, they're starting to, you called it early in the game, Ron. They're on the field for so many plays, they're starting to wear down. You know, you get a little bit of a break at halftime. You think you might be able to come back out and stand up to it, but Nebraska just wears on you and wears on you and wears on you. Just keeps pushing and leaning, and pretty soon you crack.
See what Nebraska's done in the red zone today. This is their 59th play, 20 more than Colorado State has had. Frost has an opening, but he can't get in. Dave, we had a great angle of that. That opened up. It looked like he had nothing but golden goalposts from about the 5.
It really did. Jones looked like he made a nice recovery there to prevent a touchdown for Frost, his second rushing touchdown of the afternoon. Offensive line doing a good job up in front once again, and Schuster trying to lead him around the perimeter, but pretty good recovery back to the football by Jones.
Inside of 6 minutes, the Huskers knocking on the door again. Frost with 56 yards running the football. He's already crossed the goal line once. Touchdown, Nebraska. Amon Green taking it the final yard.
That one was too easy. I mean, he just sliced off his left tackle. Just nothing fancy. Straight dive off tackle. He could have scored touch football also.
He said he was born to be a running back. His father, 2 older brothers, both have run the football. His stepfather was an offensive lineman. He said his stepdad put the toughness in him. Everybody else showed him how to run the football. That is his first touchdown, second touchdown rushing the football this season for Amon Green. And he has given the Huskers a 44-6 lead. Big 12 football will continue after these local messages. Nebraska has rushed for almost 300 yards in this football game, and they lead Colorado State 44-6. We're still in the 3rd quarter. Chris Brown's kickoff is going to be returned, but not much. Washington with about a 20-yard return. There is Adam True. He snaps the long snaps for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. True, usually the left tackle, the 6'6 senior out of Lincoln.
Oh, you need a good snap, good hold, good kick. Snap was tough, but the holder, Vedral, bailed out True, and then the kicker, Brown, executed. That's a nice job by Vedral averting catastrophe. The hold was low, snap was low and inside. Vedral on the placement before, True had a very true snap, but Vedral couldn't handle it. So you can't take anything for granted. Good snap, good hold, good kick on every extra point is a must.
True's one of the guys I saw playing basketball. Thought he had some pretty good agility, could put on some weight. Now he's playing defense. Moreno's going to air it out long, intended for Turner, and it is incomplete, penalty flag.
Yeah, there was early contact. Brown got there before the arrival of the football. You have to allow the receiver to make an adjustment to make a play back on the ball, and Brown just ran into him.
Turner, the transfer from Iowa State, sat out last year, but in '94 had over 540 yards kickoff returns, 4th highest in school history.
Now, look at Brown's giving him a big cushion. Turner turns it up the football field. Brown turning, he's turned his head, he's making a play on the football, but he just runs right through the receiver as Turner tries to make a play on the ball. You know, in the NFL, quite honestly, that's not pass interference as long as the defensive back has his head turned trying to make a play on the ball, but college football is a little different.
Turner has 3 consecutive games, 100 yards receiving. He's closing in on that mark right now.
You know, the other thing I like about a play like this in the NFL, that is all the way to where the infraction occurred. That's a huge pass interference. I think is the biggest penalty in the big leagues. This is just a penalty from the line of scrimmage. It's much more tolerable.
Nebraska showing 6 on the line of scrimmage. Moreno, straight drop. Looks down the side, complete. That was an excellent catch by Joey Porter. Porter looked like he had taken his eyes completely off Moreno.
And they're going after the young corner, going after Brown a little bit, and just a tremendous effort by Moreno throwing the football. Gets Brown turned around. Nice move to the inside by Porter. The ball is there. I mean, really, the ball's in the air before his receiver, Porter, makes the cut. That's a timing pattern that was executed very well.
As soon as Porter turned around, the ball was hitting him in the gut.
Yep.
Jeff Turner wide to the right. Moreno again is being rushed. Airs it out, going for 6, and it is intercepted.
And then dropped. Are they calling it a touchback, though?
Calling it a touchback. It was indeed an interception.
Did he have possession? The officials are talking about it. Did he have control? They're trying to decide if it's just an incompletion or is it an interception.
Ralph Brown coming down with the Oski.
Maybe. the potential Oski.
Potential Oski. Now the officials, the hardest job they've got is keeping everybody away from them.
Convention going on right here at the Zebras.
Well, this is a good officiating crew that get together and talk about it. It was tough to see from our angle. And even on our replays, we understand it's very difficult to see.
And, of course, pleading his case is the young man who could benefit, Mr. Ralph Brown.
That would be his first of his collegiate career.
Did he have control? That's the question.
Interception on the 3-yard line. The momentum took him in. It'll be first down here.
Okay, I don't think it was a question of whether he intercepted it. It's probably where they were going to put it.
His momentum took him into the end zone. Exactly. He had total possession of the football. Now, are they going to call it a touchback at the 20-yard line? Is the discrepancy? Where does he get control of the ball? He catches it at the 4. Does he have control?
No.
Oh boy, that's the question. Yes, he does. And the momentum takes him into the end zone. He lost the ball after he hit the ground. They mark it at the 2-yard line. Instead of a touchback, they said that he got control of the football at the 2-yard line. Nebraska takes over there.
Well, we have a new quarterback. Matt Turman, the 5'11 senior from Wahoo, Nebraska, is coming to the lineup. A lot of people were calling for him last week. He did play against Arizona State. Led him on a nice drive. Ooh. Damon Benning upended at the 6.
Boy, that's what happens when you go airborne. A guy like Nunn just takes your legs right out from under you, and then you have a 1-point landing on your helmet or the back of your shoulder pads. But Benning wants to get his opportunity. Amon Green's had a big day. Benning bounces it to the outside, then he gets bounced. 1-point landing, Mr. Nunn.
the year, 4 of 6. 1 touchdown, no interceptions for 70 yards. Bending the eye back. Scott Frost obviously done for the day. Billy Legate, the sophomore from Elgin, Nebraska, on the carry. That is his first of the year. The 5'11" sophomore, 220 pounds. There is Scott Frost, and I think he's going to have a little bit of the pressure off. Turner Gill to our left, to Frost right. Turner Gill, former Nebraska quarterback, former professional baseball player. He was also a good one.
Very efficient numbers for Scott Frost. 13 of 18, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a decent day's work right there. And it was simple. The passing game was simple also. They kept it basic.
Herman sees the seam, makes his way up to the 17, 18-yard line before being brought down by Clark Higgins. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper scorer roundup. Dr. Pepper and your local bottler bring you this. Miami is all over Pitt still. Clemson leading Wake Forest by 11 in the third. Navy and Boston College not enough in the third. Purdue doubling up North Carolina State. Northwestern by 11 in the fourth over Indiana. Still a lot of time left. Mississippi State over South Carolina. That is also in the third. First and 10, ball on the 19 for the Huskers. Kerman going deep. He has a man intended for Sheldon Jackson. Jackson split the defense right down the middle, and the big 6'4" sophomore tight end from Diamond Bar, California couldn't come up with it.
Well, there's a lot of substitutes, some second offensive linemen, backup offensive linemen in there doing a pretty good job for Turman, giving him protection, a little play action fake. He tries for the whole banana down the football field to Jackson, just overthrows him, and Turman says, I have him. Oh, I don't have him. I just overthrew that bad boy just a little bit.
Second and 10 for Nebraska, leading 44-6, 3:30 left to play in the third quarter. They're going to keep it on the ground. Benning crosses the 30 up to the 31-yard line. Pickup of 12 on the play.
Man, I'll tell you what. You talk about a. This is a whole stack of pancakes on this block from Matt. I hope I'm saying his last name right. I don't know how to say it to tell you. Watch 51 in the red. Boom. Kwame drills. I mean, he just pancakes them and throws syrup on top of them. I mean, that was unbelievable. I need to buy a vowel from Vanna White. It's V-R-Z-A-L. I guess it's Verzel. That's how you say it. But I'll tell you what, however you say his name, Mr. Verzel, that was a heck of a block.
That is a heck of a defensive play right there for Colorado State. Clark Higgins, the redshirt freshman from Torrance, California, slashing in to make the stop.
More scores, ripping across the screen. Missouri, Iowa State. Missouri had a big win last week against Clemson.
SMU's done well this year, but they trail BYU. And elsewhere in the WAC, Air Force over Rice in the second.
You know, all the academies are playing well. Army, the Air Force, Navy, they were undefeated coming into this weekend collectively.
Second down and 14. Upstairs, incomplete. Verzel, that's how you pronounce it. Finally looked it up. Verzel. You're right. You had it.
I better have it, because he'll come up and pancake me, man.
Oh, without his helmet on, he's got that goatee, that World Wrestling Federation look from Grand Island, Nebraska.
I'll tell you what, that was an excellent block. That's a definite knockdown. That's a waffle belly. That's not a pancake. That's a waffle belly when you knock him down and run up on his chest a little bit.
He is also a big one. Third down and 14 for the Huskers. Play action pass. They throw it out into the flat. It is complete to the 30-yard line. It'll be short of the first down. Legate fights his way for a couple of more.
Hey, you talk about breaking tackles. You can't tackle the Huskers high. They've got such unbelievable leg strength from working out in that weight room. They just drive and push, and Legate just ran right through it. Excellent effort. Take a look at Legate here. He's the fullback, number 40, works into the flat. The ball's delivered accurately. Watch him run right through this. High contact. You have to hit lower than that. That's much too high by none, and he just carries him. Legate, that was great leg strength.
Push set to punt. He's averaging 53 yards a kick. Colorado State comes with everything, and the flags are down. a roughing the kicker call, so Ronald Antoine might as well just sit down. Colorado State had the rush on, but Dave, they went at him instead of where the ball is going to be.
Yeah, I think they got none for running into the kicker. Let's see if this is the 5 or the 15.
That was a 58-yard kick, though, by Jesse Cush.
Boy, so it obviously didn't bother his follow-through.
Not a bit.
Whew. That was a howitzer.
I think they are going to call it on Tetris Nunn.
Yeah, Nunn is the guy that ran into him. Let's see now. They're going to measure here because it's only the 5-yard variety, so I guess they want to see if they have the first down or not.
Let's listen in on the call. Referee Hal Dowden.
Running into the kicker against the defense. 5-yard penalty. The penalty makes it a first down.
So that it is, even though it's only 5 instead of 15, it does give it enough for a first down conversion, and Nebraska maintains possession of the football. There's 2 different penalties, running into the kicker and roughing the kicker. This is the one where they called running into the kicker, and watch number 23 in the white. Definitely runs into him. Now he is being engaged by a blocker, and I think that was a factor in the call. But boy, look at the leg extension. Follow through. Boy, that's dangerous. That's why they call it. You can break your foot, break your ankle, following through into a helmet like that.
Nebraska takes over 2:22 left in the third. Benning, left side, cannot turn the corner, but he does stiff arm his way up to the 45-yard line before Myron Terry, a sophomore from Los Angeles, California, comes up with a stop.
You know, there was another knockdown on that play by the fullback, and as I mentioned earlier, the offensive linemen, they in the stat sheets, they keep track of pancakes for all the offensive linemen. Well, for the running backs and the wide receivers, they talk about knockdowns also. And if they get an 80 snaps in the course of a football game, usually there's 100 people that are on the ground collectively by the offensive unit when they're on a roll. And today they're on a roll. There have been a lot of Colorado State guys on the ground.
They go to the first man through, and he's going to be stacked up. Right at the line of scrimmage is the Colorado State defense led by Eric Vaughn from that middle linebacker position. Put the hit on Billy Legate.
Close the gate on Legate.
Big time. Now, this Colorado State team has been known for defense. They led the WAC in defense 2 of the last 3 years, but they had to replace a couple of great ones, defensive end Brady Smith and Sean Moran.
Well, as well as in the secondary, Greg Myers, a 5th-round pick by the Bengals, and the Buffalo Bills took Ray Jackson at corner. They've got 4 guys that were drafted from the 3rd to 5th round, all made their respective teams in the NFL. 4 players off that defense.
Well, they were counting on a pride factor today defensively, but that sometimes doesn't get it when you're playing such great athletes like Nebraska. Herman rolls out, has a man, and it's incomplete. Right into the hands of Kenny Cheatham.
Well, Cheatham was deciding if he was going to spin or turn it to the inside before he caught the football. He was making his first move. Do I pivot inside or outside? And he lost concentration on the most important thing, the point of the football. You got to look it in. And you couldn't throw the football any better than it was thrown right here. He put it right on his number. But watch what Cheatham does. He takes his eyes off. Oh, I'm thinking about turning to the outside. You lost track of the football. You got to catch it first.
Cheatham with only 1 reception so far this year. A young man that's had track and basketball scholarship offers. He's a 6'4", 210-pounder. 10 men on the line again. And on 4th down, Cush's punt is going to be a little shorter than the last one. Antoine at the 20. He is going to be stacked up at the 21. Well, Jesse Cush has had a pretty good day today. He's had an active day. Brian, what do you have on him?
He is known as the weatherman among the Nebraska teammates because he's studying to be a meteorologist. And Tom Osborne asked him each week of practice, what are the weather conditions going to be on Saturday, game day? He's been pretty accurate, but he says, you know, that's kind of boring just giving the conditions. So he and Chris Brown load up in a car at times, and they chase thunderstorms, kind of trying to find some tornadoes. I asked Brown, have you found any yet? And he said, no, not in Nebraska, but we're thinking about heading over to Kansas. Now, Dave, they say they have plenty of room in the car if you want to go along.
Only if Toto and Andy M's over there in Kansas, then I'll go along.
Kickers have entirely too much time on their hands. These guys got to do something else. Chris Brown was quite a character yesterday. We got a real kick out of talking to him.
Yeah, he doesn't have the normal kicker mentality.
No, he doesn't, does he?
He's more like a mad dog defensive position player.
All hope his parents don't have a satellite dish down in Texas. Especially since I'm moving there. 44 seconds left to play in the third quarter, 44-6. Nebraska's really opened it up here, just using their size and their depth. Now Moreno telling Turner to back off the line of scrimmage, and he does. 5-step drop, Turner in the flat, complete. And he's hit hard, but not before he gets the first down.
Well, that slant pattern has been very, very good to Colorado State, and the corners are giving up the inside. They're playing outside technique, but the linebackers and safety just aren't running out to give that inside support soon enough. So they're finding a little seam in that zone, and Turner and Moreno are taking advantage of it. You know, I'll tell you, Ron, I thought that Colorado State had a great game plan, both offensively and defensively against Nebraska, but sometimes the other team's X's are bigger than your O's. They're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger, and no matter how you game plan, if you have physical mismatches in X's and O's, it's a tough thing to fulfill.
Well, better than 75,000. Most of them dressed in red and white have enjoyed the first 45 minutes of play. We have 15 left at a sold-out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, and the Huskers lead it handily. When there's a football game in Lincoln, Nebraska, 5% of the population of the state are in Memorial Stadium. They lead at 44-6, 15 minutes left, along with Brian Nooner and Dave Lapham. I'm Ron Poole. Our final time with Mr. Lapham this year. Eric Dickerson returns to our crew next week.
Hey, it was fun, Ron. Always is.
I'll tell you what, we eat a lot more with you, that's for darn sure.
It was a great place last night, man. There was some serious protein overdose going on.
Moreno, straight drop back, looks over the middle, pass is complete. Antoine with the crossing route in traffic, but Moreno once again showing that arm strength.
He definitely has zip on the football. There's it's tight revolutions of that spiral, and I tell you what, it gets there in a heartbeat. You can hang your clothes on this frozen rope that Moreno's going to hurl right here. Steps up in the pocket, great release, quick release, and I'll tell you, that's working against the best cover guy that Nebraska has to offer.
34-yard line of Nebraska. Colorado State now trying to get something to go for the pride factor. Their running game just hasn't been what they had hoped to. A couple of flags thrown in the defensive backfield.
Well, you got to think both of them may have seen a holding call occur there or something.
They all were thrown at the same time.
Looks like maybe holding out on the perimeter must have been very visible because there were hankies everywhere. Oh, illegal block. It was an illegal crackback block. Must have happened. You can't, when you crack back, you can't hit below the knees.
It looked like Joey Porter kind of turned his head when the officials made the motion, the H-back for Colorado State.
Now, when you come in outside in, motion from the outside in, and you crack back on a linebacker, you got to hit him above the waist.
Illegal block by the offense. 15-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So Colorado State looks like they're trying to make some headway offensively, and then they're pushed back by a penalty.
Yeah, one step forward, two steps back. And we mentioned one of the big musts for Colorado was no margin for error. Well, they've had way too much error in this football game, Ron, to stay competitive with the team the quality of Nebraska in their stadium.
First and 22, ball pushed back to the 46-yard line. Still in Nebraska territory. Moreno gets rid of it quickly. It is complete to Jeff Turner. Gets by the defender down to the 15-yard line and knocked out of bounds at the 13.
He ran away from Brown. Turner just pivoted away from Brown, and he picked up quite a few more yards.
Picked up 33 on the play.
Moreno, I'll tell you, he doesn't get discouraged. He fires and falls back. Look at Brown with the inside technique, giving plenty of cushion off the line of scrimmage. Turner drives him off the line, and Brown loses his footing and then misses the tackle. And Turner just picks up an extra 20 yards as a result of that. Nice route, good effort.
That makes 4 consecutive games. He has gone over 100 yards in receiving. Ball's on the 12, first and 10. They're going to keep it on the ground up to the 10-yard line in the line of scrimmage.
Somebody ran out of their shoe. There's a shoe sitting at the 22-yard line. Somebody just came right out of their footwear.
Calvin Branch. No, he doesn't have it on. No, he blew a tire.
Yeah, he did. I tell you, the wheel's there, but the tread's gone. There's no rubber on that wheel.
Still a little tough to run.
Man, Calvin Branch.
2nd down and 8.
Boy, Colorado State certainly has had an ambitious schedule, non-conference schedule this year, though, Ron. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But Moreno creeping up on 250 yards passing again.
This young man's got a very bright future. Rolls out left, has the time, has a man. It was completed, dropped. Justin Scholl had it in his hands.
And then Farley kissed him. I mean, gave him a shot to the chops once he didn't control the ball.
And Scholl is no small guy at 6'3", 245.
Right. Farley, he has some dynamite under those shoulder pads, and he runs around the football field carrying those pads big time and detonates. And watch Farley here. As the big tight end can't control it, Farley says, "I'll punish you then." Ba-boom. That is a shot.
And he does. If you were Nebraska coaches, Dave, yes, you're winning big, 44-6. But Colorado State's averaging almost 6 yards a play. That is not very good.
And they're 1 for 8 on 3rd down. And this is 3rd and long. That's very bad.
Moreno the long snap. They keep it on the ground, and there's not much there.
Make it 1 for 9. That's a big factor in this football game. 1 for 9 on 3rd down. They've done a lot of their damage on early downs, obviously.
Branch didn't have very much running room. And Colorado State's going to come in and attempt the field goal. Matt McDougal had one blocked in the 1st quarter, which stalled their opening drive.
You know, Ron, when you're Colorado State, though, and you play Colorado, Oregon, and Nebraska, that's a heavy-duty challenge. And if you get beaten up physically, then you have to go into the WAC and play your conference. Sometimes you wonder if it's the smartest thing to do to play all those good programs non-conference.
Esslinger to hold, the kick, up and away. They hook it through, and it is good. So Matt McDougal is now 4 of 6, or 4 of 7 on the year. He cuts the Nebraska lead to 44-9, 12:38 left in the ballgame.
Hockey fans will discover a coupon for a free package of Fairbury brand Tomboy hot dogs.
12:38 left to play in the ballgame. Nebraska leads it 44-9. And it has been all Nebraska's offense. They have put together 464 yards total offense to 267 for Colorado State. McDougal set to kick it away. It'll be fielded on the 5 by Evans. Up to the 30, breaks a tackle nearing the 40-yard line. D'Angelo Evans brought down by Willie Taylor. Let's take a look at our Southwest Airlines storyline. Southwest Airlines, low fares, every flight, every seat, every day. Good day for Frost.
Very good day, very efficient day. He showed an ability to rebound from a tough performance, showed resiliency, and Nebraska certainly did their damage in the 3rd quarter. Moreno hung tough, though. He's still hanging tough.
He is. But that 3rd quarter, scoring drives a minute 17 less. But there was not much frost on the ground today. Has there been, Dave?
No, absolutely. No frost early in this year, today anyway.
Terman at quarterback. Jay Sims is the new halfback, and he has the football, and he crosses the 40 up to the 41-yard line. Eric Vaughn, the middle linebacker from Colorado Springs, makes the stop.
I'll tell you, Whiting at the wingback position had an excellent crack block. I mean, he motioned inside, hit his man above the line of scrimmage, and then worked his way down his body and cut him at the end of the play. Everybody's getting a chance to participate this afternoon. That's what Coach Tom Osborne likes, because, hey, you practice all week, you get a payday, you get a little reward on Saturday.
Keep it on the ground as Sims again, and he crosses the 45 up to about the 47-yard line. And that's something that they do in the spring practice and also in the fall. As far as their offensive line, they run 4 or 5 units on the offensive line. Everybody gets the reps. They're ready to start when they're junior and seniors, but they also get some type of experience then.
Ron, you're absolutely right. And they do scrimmage a little bit, 1s against 1s, 2s against 2s, and you're right. They have so many repetitions. By the time they're redshirt seniors, they are so efficient and productive up front of the offensive line. They just replace All-American with another candidate.
2 tight ends for Nebraska, 1 lone setback on 3rd and 2. Herman's going to keep it, tries to turn the corner, does, and he gets the first down as he goes inside in Colorado State territory. Furman at only 5'11", 185 pounds, used every bit of that to get the first.
Yeah, sometimes it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And Furman was fighting for that first down.
I remember a couple of years ago against the Oklahoma State Cowboys, he came in back in '94 and led the Huskers to victory, so he is not new to competition.
Understands the offense. He could probably install it as well as the offensive coaching staff.
And he has been a very patient, good soldier the last couple of years. Was the third-team quarterback last year. Nice ball fake. Furman on a run for his life. Gets a block, crosses the 45, runs out of bounds.
That was a great play by his intended receiver, the tight end Aaron Wills. Turman had a run pass option. Wills was his tight end on the naked bootleg that was his target. And he decided, look, I'm not going to throw it to you, but I'll direct you traffic-wise. Come back and get a little peel-back block. Watch 81 in the red jersey. There he is in front, presents himself to the receiver. Turman says, now come back. Boom. Gets the block. Nice effort by the tight end.
Will's getting some playing time and taking advantage of it. 2nd and 6. Sims spins his way inside the 45 down to the 43-yard line. Jay Sims coming into this game had only carried 5 times for a couple of yards, or 2 times for 5 yards. He's already matched that this afternoon.
You know, I'm sure that Coach Tom Osborne and his staff is going to be happy with the way that the entire team rebounded. I mean, there's no doubt that 19-0 defeat at the hands of Arizona State really let the air out of the balloon. But they practiced hard all week, and they wanted to make a restitution for what they did today.
3rd down. Furman held the pitch long enough, gives it up at the exact right time. Sims may have Pater, one man to beat. Down to the 5-yard line, and he is corralled. Furman showed exceptional patience on that pitch. He waited till one of the defensive players ran by him. Then he dished it off to Sims, who did the rest.
Boy, Ron, just as you call it, I mean, a quarterback really, he takes one for the team here, basically. I mean, he realizes, he turns it up the football field, knows he's going to get hit, holds it to the last minute before he takes the shot. That's just an excellent read by a heady quarterback, and then Sims is the beneficiary. Nebraska over 500 yards of total offense, 520 yards offense.
Well, this is the Nebraska everybody thought would be like in 1996. First man through down to the 2-yard line, and is Billy Legate. Oh, Legate looks like one tough cookie, too. He's 220 pounds, but he's got that bull neck and everything.
That's right. It looks like he swallowed a bowling ball, and then it gets kind of bigger from there. I mean, short, squatty, typical fire hydrant type fullback. He's basically a pectoral and quadricep muscle out there. You know, I mean, that's all you got. Not a whole lot of long body out there.
I got to write that bad boy down. Nearing 9 minutes. 24-9 is our score. Furman pitches it back to Sims. He's got most of the yardage on this drive, and he gets the final few. Sims with his first touchdown of 1996.
People say, Nebraska runs the score up. Hey, Coach Osborne has his substitutes in there, but this is good football players. I mean, they're trying to get more playing time. So basically, they're out there. They're not going to give it up. They're out there working hard, and Colorado State a little bit tired. They pump it in the end zone once again.
Even a backup kicker, Ted Retzlaff, the backup field goal kicker, in for the extra point. We have a penalty flag thrown. He puts it through the uprights. But we'll have to see. So Coach Osborne getting everybody in.
And you got to like that. I mean, you know, like I said before, you work hard all week at practice. It's great to get an opportunity to participate in the game. You know, you usually do on special teams, but now they're getting some snaps from scrimmage, which is great.
Well, the extra point is good. The penalty was against Colorado State.
Offside on the defense. The point's good. We'll penalize 5 yards on the kickoff.
And we have timeout. 9:07 left to play in the ball game. We'll be back right after this word from Sonic Drive-In, where we invite you to drive in for a change. Nebraska on their way to the school's 700th victory. They lead it 51-9. We have still over 9 minutes left to play in this ball game. Damon Washington takes it inside the 5, has some running room, crosses the 20 up to the 24-yard line. Now, earlier this week, comments were made and released by a judge in Kansas City who was hearing the Lawrence Phillips situation. And the judge said that he wanted to see what was going on in Nebraska and thought there should be a full-blown investigation. Tom Osborne didn't agree.
Well, the concern I had was that people at Nebraska did look very hard at every aspect of the Lawrence Phillips case and every other situation that we had. And we made the very best decision that we could on the facts and the information that we had. And we certainly didn't hide anything. We did not try to ignore anything. And we just had to go on what everybody told us, the police reports, everybody involved, and that's what we did. And so if someone has other information now, all of a sudden, it's kind of like Monday morning quarterbacking where somebody has a different viewpoint, and it's very easy after the fact to say, well, what you should have done. But obviously, we're labeled, I guess, or I've been labeled as a win-at-all-cost coach, and maybe I am, but I certainly would not have played a young man if I felt he was guilty of some of the things that he's been alleged to have done. So anyway, we felt bad about that, but we did just make the comment that we had to go on what everyone told us were the facts, and we think that we acted responsibly on that information.
Well, the judge that was seeing that case, his comments came out. The press got the comments, the transcripts that were made a few weeks ago. And he wasn't sure about what was going on up here. Well, Judge, here's what's going on up here. How about 49 academic All-Americans, the most in football since 1952. Tom Osborne has a graduation rate of his players of better than 75% as Moreno goes up top. And the pass is incomplete. His graduation rate is the best in the Big 12. He has numerous academic All-Americans. So I think before the judge starts making comments about what's going on up here, I think he should maybe take off his robe and come on up here and listen to the task force. I thought that was an irresponsible comment by that judge.
I thought it was too, particularly since it was decided out of court, settled out of court. I don't know, it makes you wonder if the judge is just looking for a little national publicity. But
well, this man is above reproach.
This guy, he's a quality individual. There's no doubt about it. Tom Osborne is about as decent a man as you're going to meet. There is no doubt.
And whatever you read, folks, Tom Osborne is a wonderful man. Meanwhile, back to football. Moreno completes it to Antoine, who takes quite a shot up to the head. He makes his way up to the 41-yard line.
Well, Moreno is not going to give up on this football game. He's going to fire and fall back and do it again and again and again. I mean, he wants to bring some numbers up. He's 13 of 25 now on the afternoon, completing over 50%. He's 255 yards, so every game he's thrown for at least 250 yards, and he's thrown a touchdown pass in every game. So he's got, double-digit touchdown passes on the year. He's getting it done.
Ball's out of 41, 1st and 10. Moreno's being rushed. Scrambles out of the pocket, still on his feet. Throws up the prayer, and it's not answered. Intended for Eli Workman, the tight end.
What an effort, though.
Well, I mean, scrambling for his life.
Yeah, he was Ben Gazzara. He was running for his life full speed, and he eluded some big people. You know, big defensive lineman gets the grip on him, but he can't hold on to Moreno. Sometimes you move and run faster than you can. And the big defensive lineman trying to swing him down, offensive lineman peels him off. Moreno just backpedaling now and throwing off that back foot. Incompletion, though. He avoided giving up the lost yardage.
This Colorado State offense has 29 less plays than the Nebraska offense. Moreno on the ground to Washington. Ball is loose. Everybody's diving for it. I think Colorado State may have got it back.
A little tug of war happening right now. Let's see. The ball might have exchanged possession. Nebraska's already out with it. They came walking out with the football. Holding it aloft is Steve Warren.
Well, Nebraska did get it.
Steve Warren saying, here it is, take it.
Well, despite the fact that Colorado State averaging just a shade under 6 yards every time they touch the ball, they come up with a mistake.
Washington not in agreement with the call. If you can read lips, you can definitely see that he wasn't in agreement. Little counter tray action, and the ball has definitely popped out of there. I don't know what he's complaining about. The ball was out long before he hit the turf, and the big fella falls on top of it immediately is Steve Warren.
Now Damon has to take a seat. Nebraska takes over, 7.5 left to play in the ball game. D'Angelo Evans, who said there he's going to be a great one, that shows some signs of just that.
This guy is exciting. In high school, he was like 4th all-time in yards and 5th all-time in touchdowns scored, and he missed a bunch of games his senior year. He is a water bug. He's exciting as it gets. Take a look at him here. It's pretty good blocking up front. He bounces it to the outside board as he moves laterally in a heartbeat. Runs through a tackle. He shows speed, agility, and power in one run.
About a 19-yard pickup on that play, and he gets a little bit more on that one. The true freshman from Wichita, Kansas, 5'9", 210 pounds, and we've seen the Barry Sanders type running back. A lot of 5'9", 5'10ers now.
Yeah, and 210 pounds. I mean, that's put together.
The limit.
That's put together. He's look at how thick those thighs are. He's got a hind quarter on him that won't quit. You can't wrap him up that easily. He doesn't give you much of a target to hit either. You know, he has a little forward lean, and once again, he's like tackling a pectoral and a quadricep.
We have another new quarterback in, Jeff Perino, the 6'2" redshirt freshman from Durango. He hands it off to Evans again. Well, we talked about the high potent Colorado State offense, what they've done during the year. Let's see what they've done this afternoon.
Well, rushing is where it's dramatically down. You know, their total yards are down, but passing the football, they're close. But they're close to 200 yards away from their season average. We said at the beginning of the game that they had to rush for 100 yards or more to stay competitive, and they're not even halfway there yet, and that's been the problem.
Evans again, already 30 yards on 3 rushes, and he's going to get his first touchdown of his collegiate career. Four carries for 60 yards in that drive. That was Evans's touchdown drive right there. Boy, is he excited. There's a look at the future right there. He's the 5th Nebraska running back today to have over 50 yards rushing. The 5th one. Man, oh man, they're getting everybody involved in the action here today. And Washington coughing up the footballs, the one that set it up. Retzliff's extra point through the uprights. D'Angelo Evans, his first collegiate touchdown. 6:09 left to play in the ball game, and a big front line blowing them out again.
Boy, and they're blocking down the football field, and that's what you have to do when you have a back like this. Somebody has to get a downfield block, because once he breaks the front 7, he can go the distance just like he does here.
Big 12 football will continue after these local messages. Set the kickoff for Nebraska. They lead it 58-9. Little confusion on who's going to return it. Branch still on his feet, getting hit around. Now let's take a look at our Sonic play of the game. Sonic, where we invite you to drive in for a change.
And boy, Angelo Evans showing some sonic speed right here. A little counter step, takes the handoff. Watch him turn his shoulders up the field. Boom, gets those shoulder pads square. The most highly recruited running back out of high school last year, and you can see why. He's short, compact, explosive. He's the real deal. Nice run by Angelo Evans for his first collegiate touchdown.
Well, we have a new quarterback for Colorado State. Dave Moses Moreno is going to take a seat. Number 12, Ryan Esslinger, is checked into the lineup. This is Damon Washington trying to turn the corner, not able to do it. Esslinger, a 6'2" sophomore out of Pueblo, Colorado, has completed 1 of 4 passes for 6 yards this year, no touchdowns, but he is behind a good one.
Yeah, Moreno upheld his end of the bargain to get a Nebraska play. He made the play. That's Eric Johnson, I believe, made the play on that, and he made the tackle, and he's kind of definite hitch in his get-along as he makes his way to the sideline under his own power, though.
It's amazing. I've been to a lot of football games, Dave, but with 5.5 minutes left to play, your team is up by 49. There's still 75,000 red shirts here.
Oh, this is die-hard.
It's going to make it tough for our producer to get to the airport, gets that flight. That's too bad. Esslinger's pass is caught and then dropped. Right into the hands of Derek Ewell, the tight end, number 86. That has happened a couple of times to Colorado State QBs this afternoon.
And this one, I didn't really notice him taking his eyes off the football. I think he just basically had an allergic reaction to the pigskin. Just clank.
Long time. How about 34 years since this stadium was not sold out? 210 consecutive. See the press box on the left? That's probably going to be renovated the next couple of years here in Lincoln.
Yeah.
They're talking about putting suites in. Esslinger's pass is knocked down, almost intercepted. Boy, when you just smell that blood, everybody gets into it. Steve Warren, a defensive tackle, number 85, is the one who came up with the tip.
Moreno's had a couple of interceptions off of deflected balls, and pass rush lanes just kind of occupied by the Cornhuskers. Can't find a lane to throw it through, and it's knocked to the ground.
McDougal set to kick. Snap is good. Very little rush, end over end. Fielded at the 45 by J.R. Edwards. And he is going to be stacked up just after about a 2-yard gain. 5:36 left to play in this ball game, and the Huskers are back on the winning track. They lead it in a big way. Back right after this word from Dr. Pepper, and it's 85 Dr. Pepper bottlers. Happy to bring you this inaugural season of Big 12 football.
This is going to be great!
58-9 is our score. We're in the fourth quarter. For those of you who have thrown a little dirt on the body here in Nebraska after last week's loss to Arizona State, you're a little premature on that. The road to a national title is going to be difficult, but it's not impossible. D'Angelo Evans on the carry. One of the important aspects of this football program at Nebraska is their walk-on program. A lot of the starters have also walked on, and here are the names.
Well, you take a look at some good football players right there. I mean, a lot of schools would love to have players of this caliber in their program. Nebraska's the only school in the state. Colorado State, Colorado fight for it. Kansas State fight for it. This is the only one in the state of Nebraska.
Evans again dancing his way close to the 40-yard line.
So you get a lot of quality high school players in the state of Nebraska that want to come to school at the state university and participate in football, and they've had a lot of great players develop through that walk-on program, and then of course you start to gain some momentum with the success that they've had. They get players from all over the country to go along with it.
1st and 10, ball on the 41. Evans is going to take a breather. Jeff Perino is the quarterback. Hands it off, first man through, up to the 32-yard line. Josh Cobb, a fullback in a reserve role.
And that's the part of the option that hurts the defense the most, is when you can hammer the fullback right in the belly of the defense and be successful doing it. Straight line. The shortest distance between the goalposts is right up the football field, north and south. That's the course that Nebraska took that time.
And Kingston checks in at the fullback spot, number 22. Tom Osborne letting everybody play today. Jay Sims around the left side, crosses the 20 down to the 18-yard line. Pickup of 14 on the play for Sims. Willie Taylor has to come up and make the stop.
Once again, I think it might have been Olsen that missed the tackle at the safety spot. I thought that was the key to the football game. Colorado State was going to commit 9 people to stopping the run, the strong and free safety. And if Nebraska's running backs were going to be able to break tackles of those safeties, it's going to be a long day for the Rams. And that's exactly what's happened for the most part. Nebraska has broken the tackles of the unblocked safeties and gotten big plays out of it.
Well, Sonny Lubick is concerned that his WAC season starts, and there's still a lot riding on this season. And he knows knows it really begins in earnest next week. And the 59-year-old Sonny Lubick, who has a couple of national titles when he was at Miami under Dennis Erickson.
Back-to-back WAC titles here at Colorado State. But as we mentioned earlier, Ron, a lot of his defensive stalwarts graduated to the National Football League. And rebuilding that defense now, young guys getting experience while they're playing.
2nd down and 7, ball sitting on the 15. The red guys are knocking on the door again. Ben Kingston is stopped right at the line. 3rd down and 6. Take a look at our Dr. Pepper roundup. Colorado leading A&M, and Miami has defeated Pitt. Pitched a shutout. Clemson over Wake Forest by 11. That is the final. Boston College comes back to beat Navy by 5. 3rd down and 6. Ball on the 14-yard line. First man through, crossing the 10 down to the 8-yard line is Josh Cobb, a fullback, number 42. Other scores: Purdue doubles up North Carolina State. Northwestern gets by Indiana by 18. Mississippi State leading Brad Scott in South Carolina. And Michigan State pitching a blank to Eastern Michigan. Missouri over Iowa State by 4. BYU on top of the Mustangs at halftime. And Air Force by 4 over Rice. That is also at intermission. 4th down and a yard to go. And I don't think they got it.
And speaking of fourths, the 4th quarterback from Nebraska is in the game, Monte Cristo, the count.
You took my line. I was really looking forward to that. Well, Monty had one play, but he can say he got on the turf. Now, this is a big game, believe it or not, for John Blake and the Oklahoma Sooners. They're beginning to rattle the chains down in Norman, and they're trailing Tulsa 10-7 still early on. But boy, if John Blake does not put a win on this one, it could be a very, very long season for the Sooners.
Boy, it's amazing how far that program fell so quickly.
And the big battle, Ohio State leading Notre Dame by 5 in a second. Colorado State takes over. Esslinger going for the home run toss, and it is incomplete. Looking for Jeff Turner, streaking down the left sideline.
Well, Nebraska's in their conservative defensive configuration. You're going to have safeties 20 yards down the football field playing a deep zone. They're going to break on the football when it's airborne. I mean, they're not going to let people run by them at this point in time of the football game. So Colorado State's going to have to be patient, even though there's little time left in this game, and work the underneath stuff a little bit.
Nebraska travels to Manhattan, Kansas next week to take on Kansas State. That is a very good football team.
Be a good matchup. And they're going to in another hostile environment. Maybe they learned a little bit out there at Arizona State in the learning curve.
Colorado State keeping it on the ground with Calvin Branch, and he is going to be dropped for a loss of 5 on the play.
You know, that's one thing that Coach Osborne mentioned, Ron, in our discussions with him yesterday. He said he underestimated the level of the crowd noise out there at Arizona State. And as you mentioned, this week at practice, they're practicing with extensive crowd noise. I think in anticipation of another situation in Kansas State that'll be exactly that. The best way to cure that type of crowd environment, though, to make a big play early and they sit on their hands a little bit. And Nebraska didn't take advantage of big play opportunities early in the game, and the momentum of the crowd just built and built, and it was like a tidal wave coming at them, volume upon volume, and just turning that decibel level up, and then it just started to unfold. Murphy's Law took effect.
Well, Nebraska has rushed for 476 yards. They've totaled 628 total offense to Colorado State's 302. They have had their way offensively, and that's why they lead it by such a big margin, 58-9. Of course, next week we will be in Norman, Oklahoma. The Kansas Jayhawks pay a visit to the Oklahoma Sooners and John Blake, who will do a good job down there, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah, there's going to be some patience, and I know in a football-rich tradition like that I know you're so familiar with, Ron, patience is not maybe necessarily the greatest virtue over there.
Well, you know, the two things they did good down there, first of all, hiring John Blake. I've known him since he played at Sand Springs, Oklahoma. He's a good one. But they hired Steve Owens as their athletic director. And we talked about the Nebraska pride and their family. They've got all family down there in Norman now, and that's a positive.
Can build with that.
3rd down and 14 for Colorado State. Esslinger, straight drop, throws it, almost intercepted. Should have hit the cutoff man.
Yes.
Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper player of the game. And today's player of the game is Scott Frost. And it's brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Not a bad day for Scott.
Yeah, threw for 2, ran for 1. I think he should maybe, crack 5 Dr. Peppers for his offensive line, put him in a frosty mug, and
there you
all
go.
Celebrate a little bit.
Former safety from Stanford. Both his parents played here at Nebraska. His father played under Bob Devaney. His mom actually was a discus thrower on the track team, made the Olympic team.
Yep. As I said before, Scott Frost won the state shot put championship as a senior in high school, and he beat his right tackle, Eric Anderson.
We may add to the score here. Wow. Chevin Wiggins takes it down. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Well, when you have a bunch of players on your football team that run 10-3 to 10-5 meter 100 meters, I should say, that's what happens to you. That speed flows over to special teams in the kicking game. Wiggins can fly.
Boy, not bad. 5'11", 190 pounds, sophomore from Palmetto, Florida, Manatee High School.
Speed kills, and Nebraska has a lot of it. They've got tremendous defensive team speed. Normally that means tremendous speed in your kicking game.
They always return to home.
Yes, they do.
The extra point is good. And Nebraska has hung 65 on Colorado State. Look at it again.
Look at the wall forming. All the red jerseys to the left of the screen. Wiggins breaks the tackle right there. Once again, sloppy tackling. He cuts it up inside of the wall and then busts it to the outside, and just speed takes over, outruns everybody. But if a tackle was made by the kill man covering the punt, it would have been a moot point. But that was the biggest, another big key for Colorado State this afternoon, defensively and in the kicking game, was sure tackling, and it hasn't been that way for them most of the day.
Now the winning streak here at home will continue. Last loss was to Washington by 15 back in 1991.
Now, over the last 9 years, they'll have a home record of 53 wins and 2 defeats.
That's amazing.
That dog will hunt. 182 return yards? Boy, they've got a lot. They got about, what, 600 and whatever yards total offense, don't they?
628 total offense.
Jeez, we're starting to get up in some serious football fields here.
Colorado State's defense has been on the field 42 more plays than a Nebraska defense. That wears you down when you're going against those big hosses. Damon Washington crosses the 25 on the kickoff return. 60 seconds left to be played in this ball game.
Way over there. You guys playing a game this morning.
Sheldon Jackson talking to the fans and coaches.
Oh, hello. How y'all doing?
Good. We're doing fine. Yourself? You can smile now. Bruce Snyder at Kansas State, they even sometimes shoot the sidelines. They want to make sure their players aren't bugging for the camera.
Yeah.
Esslinger's handoff to Branch, tries to add to the numbers. Almost up to the 40-yard line. Branch had only 24 yards on 11 carries coming into that carry.
I'll tell you, Washington and Branch are quality running backs, though. I mean, they didn't rack up the numbers today that they had going into prior to today's game for the season. But you can see that there's definitely talent there, and they give a nice little combination. One the slasher and the other one the cutback guy, and they do a nice job.
And they're also without Jamie Blake, a sophomore out of San Diego, California, injured a knee. He is out.
Right.
So they're really one running back short.
Got him in the neutral zone again.
Penalty flags all over the field with 45 seconds left to be played in the ball game.
Jumpy, 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 and this time looks like Bryce Miller was the individual that was in the neutral zone.
Hell, Eric Stokes, the free safety for Nebraska, said we want to come home and have a party. I think they can start that partying part right about now.
Well, there's very little evidence of an emotional hangover of the 19-0 shutout last week at the hands of Arizona State. And during the course of the season, a way to enjoy success
5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
is selective amnesia. Remember the good things and forget the bad, and but learn by them. You know, as I said before, I don't think that the Nebraska coaching staff and players were necessarily shocked they lost the game, but how they lost the game. You know, self-destructing and the losing the poise a little bit.
Mental mistakes.
Yeah, they've rectified that, it looks like.
35 seconds, clock is running. Esslinger's pass is going to be complete to Ronald Antoine. 26 seconds left to play.
Antoine going out to the 42-yard line. First down, Rams.
Antoine, a couple of receptions today, over 50 yards. Jeff Turner was the big guy receiving. 6 receptions, 125 yards.
Some things never change, huh?
Nope. But Amon Green was the main man offensively rushing the football for Nebraska. 163 yards on 22 carries, and he crossed the goal line once. Esslinger, just a straight handoff. That might do it. Damon Washington just loses the feet. Clock with 13 seconds left, and it is running, and Sonny Lubick and staff are not going to stop it. Well, Nebraska goes to 2-1 on the year. They have an impressive victory. They did everything they needed to do offensively. They roll up the big numbers. They win it 65-9 as Tom Osborne leads the Huskers to their 700th win in school history.
That's a little piece of history right there. There's only a handful of teams, programs that have done that. Nebraska joins the ranks.
65-9 is the final. We'll be back right after this message from Dr. Pepper. Like a chance to kick a field goal for $1 million? See specially marked Dr. Pepper 12 packs for details.